The cultivation family. I begin by taking a concubine and practicing the art of the sun and moon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 151 Mirage Python Cub. Wang Qin glanced at the crowd and felt unwilling to do so, but he still turned around and disappeared into the mist. His strength is not strong in the first place. He just broke through the 9th level of chi refining and is much weaker than the people present. I originally had the idea of fishing in troubled waters and wanted to make some profit from it. Now that I have been discovered, I naturally have no intention of staying. Zhou Daocheng glanced at him indifferently. His eyes did not change. He just snorted in an inaudible voice and murmured to himself, "Letting you go is my last chance for you. I hope you can seize it." If he just didn't do anything, there was no need for Zhou Daocheng to use such strong methods to directly drive them away. After all, no matter what, this person is a strong man at the 9th level of chi refining. As long as he stays, he can greatly enhance Fang Shi's strength. It was just some secret discoveries that forced him to deliberately target and nip some possible hidden dangers in the cradle. Speed up the progress and deal with the other 2 Mirage Cloud Pythons as soon as possible. This time the plan will be completed. Wei Hanshan said. During the battle just now, the movement had awakened the other 2 Mirage Pythons, and their roars continued to echo in the valley. If there was no formation barrier, the 2 Mirage Cloud Pythons had already rushed to support, and everyone would not have been able to end the battle so easily. Zhou Daocheng led the way and took the initiative to open the passage to another valley. After passing through a narrow road, a valley appeared further ahead, similar in size to the previous one, except that the vegetation in it was denser and looked lush. A similar Mirage Cloud Python can be seen far away, diving into the fog, spinning back and forth and unable to find an exit. With the first experience, this time the siege was even easier. With the help of the natural mist formation, everyone already had the upper hand, and then added the restraints of the Golden 100 Vine formation and Quicksand formation to completely contain the Mirage Cloud Python's movements. Finally, everyone attacked at the same time and eliminated the Mirage Python in a short time. Even the slightly clumsy Yuanzong was not whipped away this time. Instead, he chopped the snake's head into pieces with several consecutive axes. It can be regarded as revenge for being whipped away twice before. There were 3 Mirage Pythons. After taking care of 2 of them, the last one was no longer a concern at all. But when heading to the 3rd valley, Zhou Daocheng frowned secretly and secretly looked in the direction of the first valley. He was keenly aware that the expelled Wang Qin did not leave, but was hidden in a fog, lurking quietly. Although I don't know what he wants to do, there must be an ulterior motive for his behavior. Zhou Daocheng snorted coldly, with a murderous intent appearing in his eyes. At the same time, I couldn't help but regret that I still suffered from my inexperience and did not screen everyone before entering Foggy Valley, which allowed Wang Qin to take advantage of the loophole. This also made the originally perfect plan seem to have a crack at this moment. Let's deal with the last Mirage Python first. With the 2nd level high-grade formation guarding it, it shouldn't be a big problem. Zhou Daocheng was thinking this way and decided to finish cleaning up the Foggy Valley first. These 3 valleys are at the core of the mountains in Foggy Valley, arranged in an inverted triangle shape, with the first valley at the front and the other 2 side by side at the back. As he entered it, there was an explosive roar, an angry, violent, and ferocious aura that far surpassed the 2 Mirage Pythons before. The terrifying and fierce momentum made all 8 people present frown. Meng Yushan couldn't help but sigh. Did this Mirage Python take the wrong medicine? Why does it feel stronger than before? Yu Chengzu squinted his eyes and explained carefully. The 2 before were males, but now this one should be a female. It's normal to be a bit fierce. The only female monk raised her eyebrows and said, "Why are you so fierce? Are you discriminating against women?" The corner of Liu Chengzu's mouth twitched, and he couldn't help but curse. "I'm talking about snakes when I'm riding a horse. Are you so excited?" "I'm sorry, Claw Girl is stressed." Yuanzong scratched his head and said happily. Immediately afterwards, he was kicked. "Who's talking about the claw girl? I'm using a chain claw magic weapon to bother you?" With the previous experience of successfully hunting the mirage python, everyone felt much more relaxed at this moment and started to joke. Zhou Daocheng was quite surprised. He didn't expect that there would be boxing in the world of cultivating immortals. However, it is understandable that the number of female monks in the world of immortality is relatively small, and their status is relatively low. Most of them are vassals. It is normal for the status difference between the two to be large. However, when Zhou Daocheng saw the situation in the valley, he was too lazy to pay attention to the people behind him, and his eyes were immediately attracted to the situation in the valley, because behind this mirage python, there is a newly born baby snake. The body was covered in mucus, and it looked like he had just been born. "Mirage python baby?" The exclamation sounded, immediately attracting everyone's attention. When everyone saw this little snake, they all showed a greedy look. Monsters like the mirage cloud python, although powerful and ferocious, are not particularly ferocious in character among snake monsters, and there is a possibility of being domesticated. It is said that some powerful monks once obtained the eggs of the mirage python after hunting them, and finally successfully hatched the cubs and domesticated them to become extremely powerful spiritual beasts. As for monsters like the mirage cloud python, the strongest one can break through to the second level. If it is properly tamed, it is equivalent to a strong foundation builder. So how could everyone not be excited when they saw this scene? It was at this time that Zhou Daocheng finally understood why this female mirage cloud python was so fierce, probably because she had given birth to a cub. Including the other two mirage cloud pythons, they were also more ferocious than usual, almost desperate to stop everyone, and had no intention of escaping. And under normal circumstances, the three mirage cloud pythons would most likely not stay in the nest at the same time, but would go out to hunt monsters. Now it seems that the source of everything has been found. The recent period is probably an important time for the mirage cloud python to hatch, and all three mirage cloud pythons are stationed in the old nest to ensure that nothing goes wrong, but they just happened to be found by everyone and were directly wiped out. Zhou Daocheng also sighed inexplicably. This luck was really too good. Not only did he easily get rid of the three mirage cloud pythons, but he also picked up a mirage cloud python cub for free in the end, all of which were great opportunities. Gulp. Yuanzong swallowed his saliva and said, "Everyone, do you think we are going to get rich? Don't talk nonsense. Get rid of this beast first." Although Wei Hanshan's eyes were also greedy, he still restrained it well and quickly attacked. The others were not timid either, and almost went forward to attack at the same time. Everyone knew that the mirage cloud python, which had just hatched its cubs, transferred most of its energy to the cubs. Therefore, although this female mirage cloud python looked fierce, it was just strong on the outside and weak on the inside, and its strength was not as good as its heyday. Chapter 152. A strong man in the foundation building stage. This time, in order to end the battle as soon as possible and avoid accidentally hurting the young mirage python, Zhou Daocheng also directly participated in it. The 5 green swords were as fast as lightning, with green light, and they were like arms in the air. In just a few breaths, they seized the opportunity to pierce the head of the mirage python and took its life directly. The other people were also looking at this scene in amazement. As early as when they saw the strength of Meng Yushan and the others, they expected that the strength of this formation master must be very strong. Although they didn't know the specific strength, it was conservatively estimated that it would not be worse than Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan at least. However, when they saw it with their own eyes, they were still shocked. Zhou Daocheng's control of the formation is far beyond the reach of ordinary cultivators, and the power he showed is also very different. Just using the purple chi-green sword formation, he has directly crushed the mirage python, showing absolute dominance. At this moment, in addition to joy, everyone also felt a sense of fear in their hearts. Among the 8 people present, the force headed by Zhou Daocheng is the most powerful, with 3 9th level chi refining masters, and all three of them have powerful formations to protect themselves. Once a conflict occurs, it is likely that even if 3 fight 5, they will be invincible, and even with the powerful strength of the formation master, they can completely fight back. This is not the point. The most important thing is that they are now in the natural mist formation controlled by Zhou Daocheng. Perhaps he alone can use the power of the second level formation to play with everyone in the palm of his hand. Just like solving the 3 mirage pythons, use the formation to divide them, and then break them one by one. When the 5 9th level Qi refining masters thought of this, they couldn't help but secretly nervous, took a step back secretly, and stayed away from Zhou Daocheng and the other two with a little vigilance. Just now, everyone could cooperate because they needed to deal with the Mirage Python together, and now that the battle is over, the distribution of benefits is a very troublesome problem. There are many cases where independent cultivators cooperate to hunt monsters. The process of hunting monsters is often very smooth, but when distributing the harvest, swords often fight each other. This is not uncommon. Zhou Daocheng was naturally aware of the behavior of several people, but he just glanced at the 5 people. Zhou Daocheng was naturally very clear about what they were afraid of, but he could only say, "You are really worrying too much." He really didn't plan to subdue all of them. On the one hand, it was the limitation of the spiritual secret method that did not allow him to subdue everyone. On the other hand, the spiritual secret method was only a means after all. Although everyone had miraculous effects in some cases, it was never the foundation for the development of power. Zhou Daocheng glanced at everyone and said calmly, "Everyone, are you so unsure of my character?" After saying this, the 5 people did not let down their guard, but became more vigilant and asked, "What do you mean, Signor?" Zhou Daocheng chuckled and said, "Don't you understand what I mean? Why are those people so nervous? The weather here should not be hot. Why are you sweating?" Yuanzong swallowed his saliva and scratched his head. "Isn't it just after the fight, and the anger is still not gone? Then I see that your legs are shaking violently. It seems that fellow Taoist Yuan is very weak." Zhou Daocheng said jokingly. Yuanzong's face flushed red immediately, and he cursed directly, "You fart. I'm very fierce. Otherwise you can ask my claw mother." "Get lost, asking me for chicken feathers, and don't fucking call me claw mother." Your cursing behind him made the other 3 people's faces turn green, and their eyelids jumped with anger. The fight didn't happen, but the 2 idiots behind him were about to start fighting each other, which was really embarrassing. Not wanting to bother with Yuanzong and the other 2, Wei Hanshan, who had the highest status among the group, took a step forward and said seriously, "Senior, maybe it's a little offensive, but I still want to ask you, do you really not intend to attack us, or subdue us and take all the gains?" Such questions are also real doubts in everyone's hearts. In the battle just now, they can also see that although the strength of this formation master is very strong, he has not yet reached the foundation building stage. How can a Qi refining cultivator face such a huge harvest and still keep his greed in his heart and choose to share it with everyone? In response, Zhou Daocheng's eyes showed a deep look, and he said lightly, "This little harvest is not enough for me to do so, and you are not strong enough for me to subdue by force." After speaking, the scene fell into silence, and the 5 cultivators showed a touch of helplessness on their faces. This really made them feel a little ashamed. "Senior, you are righteous, but I am a mean person." Zhao bowed his hands and said apologetically, "No problem." Zhou Daocheng said calmly, "And what you said is indeed correct. I will take the lion's share of the harvest this time. I hope you are mentally prepared." "It should be so. Senior has contributed the most, so it is reasonable to distribute more." The atmosphere became harmonious again, and everyone began to count the harvest of this operation. There is no doubt that the harvest this time is enough to make anyone jealous. The value of the 3 Mirage Cloud Python corpses alone is far beyond everyone's imagination. Conservatively estimated, even if only the monster materials are sold, the income will exceed 6,000 spirit stones. And this has not yet added the value of the Mirage Cloud Python cubs and the value of this valley fog itself. Otherwise, all these hidden values added together can even make the strong men in the late stage of foundation building jealous. However, when everyone was busy, Zhou Daocheng keenly noticed the abnormality and frowned at the exit of the fog valley. As the controller of the formation, although he only mastered a small part of it, he could still barely sense when outsiders entered this natural formation, and just now, he suddenly felt a very strong energy breaking into the formation. Foundation building strongmen. In an instant, he realized the strength of the person who came, and his face immediately became ugly. The person who came was familiar with the road, and seemed to have known the route to enter the fog valley, and quickly moved forward in the correct direction. Zhou Daocheng's eyes were gloomy, and he already knew who had led this person, because after this person entered the fog valley, he went directly to Wang Qin's position, and finally the two people's breath overlapped. Sensing the situation in the formation, Zhou Daocheng said to himself, "I have given you a chance to live, but you chose to die. Then don't blame me for being rude." Even according to the original plan, Zhou Daocheng did not intend to let him leave. After all, this person knew the situation in the Fog Valley. If he was allowed to go back and leak this information to the forces in Beifang City, it would inevitably cause trouble. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng originally planned to trap this person in the formation and subdue him later as a hidden card. But at this moment, Zhou Daocheng changed his mind. Chapter 153, Flame Charming Snake Princess. As the magic formula was pinched in his hand, the thick mist surrounding it immediately began to flow, and the originally stable formation patterns suddenly became unpredictable. The people who were sorting out the corpse of the Mirage Cloud Python immediately became alert and looked at the changes in the sky with doubtful eyes. Wei Hanshan and others' eyes were filled with surprise and uncertainty, and they stopped what they were doing, their eyes full of curiosity. Of course, he didn't think Zhou Daocheng would go back on his word and take action against them. He was just purely curious about what the formation master was going to do. Meng Yushan was equally. He stepped forward and asked softly, "Master, what happened?" Zhou Daocheng opened his eyes, without hiding it from everyone, and said calmly, "The casual cultivator named Wang Qin did not leave, but came back with a strong foundation building expert." As soon as the words fell, the scene became silent for an instant. First panic and surprise, followed by extreme anger and dissatisfaction. Yuan Zong gritted his teeth and said, "This beast is mad. I should have killed him directly just now. It was a miscalculation. HMPH, we really shouldn't let him leave. If he ruins our good deeds, it would be no exaggeration to cut him into pieces." The monk surnamed Liu said with a gloomy expression. Regret, anger, dissatisfaction. All kinds of emotions spread among everyone. But fortunately, the people present were all well-educated people. After only panicking for a few seconds, they immediately regained their composure. Wei Hanshan asked in a deep voice, "Senior Formation Master, what should we do next?" Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows slightly. "You continue to sort out the harvest, and leave this person to me. Don't you need our help? No need. Just come to the top of the mountain to find me later." Hearing such an indifferent answer, Wei Hanshan was slightly startled. He didn't expect that this person could still be so calm in the face of a strong foundation builder. Such a confident attitude made Wei Hanshan take a deep look at the purple-robed formation mage with a bronze mask, and his thoughts continued in his mind. This person's methods may be stronger than he imagined, especially in this natural formation. It is very likely that it can be compared with the strong foundation builders. If there is such a strong man as the leader, then everyone's plan for the micro-market may be possible. Wei Hanshan and others were not the only ones to notice the changes in the formation. In a mist-shrouded path, two figures stood here, one of whom was the expelled Wang Qin. At this time, Wang Qin was bending over, licking his smile, and said in a flattering tone, "Senior, this is it. This valley is called Wugu. There should be spiritual veins inside, and the quality should not be low. There are also 3 mirages in it." Python. Wang Qin kept chattering and told all the information he knew. Then the next moment, he was interrupted by a cold voice. "These are not important. Where is the formation master?" "Array. Array, master?" Wang Qin was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't expect that the other party didn't care about spiritual veins and treasures. Instead, He took the lead in asking about the formation master's situation. The foundation building expert glanced sideways, with a hint of coldness flashing across his eyes. Did you lie to me? There is no formation master here? Feeling the strong killing intent, Wang Qin suddenly broke into a cold sweat and quickly changed his words. Don't dare, don't dare, the formation master is inside. But, sir, don't worry too much, that person is only in the qi refining stage. Even with the help of formations, he is definitely no match for you, sir. The foundation building expert frowned slightly and said coldly, can a formation master in the qi refining stage crack the second level high-grade formation? Wang Qin licked his smile and said disdainfully, Senior, I think this person's formation skills are very poor. That is to say, he encountered a set of natural formations and luckily found a loophole. His actual level is no more than this. No, more than that? There was a hint of coldness in the eyes of the foundation building expert, and he said, if this was really the case, how could you have noticed my presence as soon as I entered? Wang Qin's expression suddenly changed, and he quickly raised his head and looked around. How is that possible? I've been hiding here for so long, and he hasn't been able to find me. Madness. The foundation building expert glanced at him coldly, took a step forward, looked up at the unpredictable clouds and mists in the sky, and felt a trace of fear deep in his eyes. Hearing the curse, Wang Qin did not dare to reply, but remained groveling. It wasn't until the foundation building expert came to the front that he dared to raise his head cautiously. When he saw the graceful figure in front of him, the flattery in his eyes changed, and instead there was a hint of lust and greed. If I can have sex with this girl, my life, Wang Qin, will not be in vain. However, this thought only appeared for a moment, and Wang Qin immediately dismissed it. He couldn't help but recall the woman's vicious snake-like methods in his mind, and a chill arose in his heart. If Liu Chengzu is called a poisonous snake, it is because of his vicious poisonous methods and unpredictable poisonous needles. The woman in front of him simply relied on her cold-blooded nature to kill people. Her methods and deeds were as good as many evil cultivators, and even more frightening. Zhou Daocheng also watched the situation in the formation. When he saw the woman, his pupils shrank deeply. This person is tall and wearing a red tight-fitting outfit. His slender buttocks outline perfect curves, giving him a strong sense of muscle strength and fullness. The bright red clothes set off the skin as white as snow, as cold as ice and snow. What is even more eye-catching is that in the snow-white ravine on his chest, a scarlet snake tattoo spread out, spitting out its tongue and extending to the neck, giving people an extremely dangerous atmosphere while also bringing a strange beauty. On the side, Wei Hanshan just climbed to the top of the mountain. When he saw this woman, his pupils immediately contracted and he took a step back in fear. Zhou Daocheng glanced at him lightly, and probably guessed in his heart that the identity of this woman might not be simple. She could not be an ordinary person to make this old man lose his composure. Old Wei, do you know this woman? Wei Hanshan swallowed his saliva, and sweat broke out on his forehead. He smiled bitterly and said, I really didn't expect that Wang Qin, this beast, could actually attract this woman. It's really a bit troublesome. Introduce her. Wei Hanshan considered his words and said with a little fear, this woman's identity is quite extraordinary. She is an extremely mysterious existence. No one knows her name, and no one knows her true strength. They only know that her methods are cruel, like a red flame venomous snake, so she is called Flame Charming Snake Princess. Flame Charming Snake Princess? This name is quite appropriate. Zhou Daocheng smiled, looking at the red snake spitting out its venom on the woman's chest, and roughly understood the origin of the name. Wei Hanshan smiled bitterly and said, Senior, please be careful. This woman hates others. Looking at the red snake on her chest, there was once a casual cultivator at the first level of foundation building who, relying on his own strength, commented on the red snake on her chest and even flirted with it. As a result, he never appeared again. Chapter 154 Red Snake Tattoo. Zhou Daocheng's expression changed slightly, and he murmured, Can you kill the first level of foundation establishment? It seems that this woman has not just broken through foundation establishment. When she first appeared 6 years ago, She was only in her early 20s and already had the foundation building level. Wei Hanshan explained. Then now, it should be possible to reach the second level. Or even the third level of foundation building. Fear appeared in Zhou Daocheng's eyes. He didn't expect that a strong foundation building expert he met would have such powerful strength. This casts a shadow on the originally smooth plan at this moment. Let alone the smooth launch of the micro market, it is very difficult to even get out of here alive. Mr. Wei, what is the purpose of this woman coming here? Zhou Daocheng asked. Wei Hanshan thought for a while and speculated tentatively. Is it a spiritual vein, or a mirage python baby? But I have not heard that this woman is deliberately looking for something. Most of the time, the dragon is seen but not its tail. Zhou Daocheng slightly, knowing that he would not get any useful information just by relying on speculation, so he waved his hands and said, "You guys stay in the valley for now, I will deal with this woman." Hearing this, Wei Hanshan hesitated for a few seconds and said, "Senior, this person's strength is unpredictable. Old man, I suggest that if you can escape, it is better to escape as much as possible." Zhou Daocheng said with a half-smile, "Is this foggy valley just going to be handed over to others? Keep the green hills here. Don't worry about running out of firewood. Life is more important than anything else." After saying that, Wei Hanshan said goodbye and left, but his face was equally ugly when he left. At this moment, Zhou Daocheng stood alone on the top of the mountain, wearing a purple robe fluttering in the wind, and his bronze mask was shrouded in thick fog, giving him a mysterious aura. Wei Hanshan said that he already understood how terrifying this woman with the red snake tattoo was, but he still didn't want to give up. In his formation, and it is a second-level high-grade formation, if he is asked to take the initiative to give in, he can't do it. When the magic formula is pinched in the hand, the clouds and mist surge between the sky and the earth, and thousands of changes are reflected in the formation. In the valley at this moment, the woman with the red snake tattoo still stood there with a frosty face, looking at the surrounding environment. She could clearly feel that there was a huge crisis hidden around her, and everything was changing and unpredictable. And through the shrouded fog, she seemed to be able to see a pair of big hands, moving the operation of this natural formation. Even as a strong person in the foundation building stage, she found it extremely difficult. What an exquisite formation method! The woman's cold eyes fluctuated with a strange expression. After just thinking for a few seconds, the woman raised her slender legs, stepped into the fog, and took the initiative to fall into this ever-changing situation. Such behavior showed confidence and arrogance, which made Zhou Daocheng, who controlled the formation, frown. Zhou Daocheng's eyes narrowed slightly and he murmured to himself, "You know this is my territory, but you still dare to break in. Who gave you such confidence?" Zhou Daocheng knew that there might be a tough battle to be fought soon. Even with the protection of this second-level high-grade formation, there was still a huge threat. With this in mind, Zhou Daocheng also cheered up and took out a large amount of spiritual honey from his storage bag, ready to replenish his physical strength at any time to face this life-and-death battle. At the same time, he stared at the two people in the formation, not daring to be careless and calculating the meaning of every move they made, because he understood that if he was a strong person with a high enough level, he could easily break the formation while strolling in the courtyard. It is an absolute crushing of realms. However, after Zhou Daocheng concentrated on observing for half an hour, his expression suddenly became strange. He scratched his head inexplicably, and looked at the expression of the woman in the formation with a hint of confusion, because during this half hour, this naked and tattooed woman kept spinning around in the formation. Not only did she not understand the formation, she was completely clueless, no different from ordinary people. However, Zhou Daocheng was still worried about the other party hiding his strength. Therefore, the local formation changes were further adjusted to increase the difficulty of getting out of the formation, but the result still hasn't changed. Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows, looking a little weird, and murmured to himself, "Is it possible that she really doesn't understand the formation? Impossible. If she doesn't understand it at all, why would she dare to walk into it so confidently?" Zhou Daocheng looked increasingly puzzled. From the beginning to the end, the woman with the red snake tattoo always had a frosty face, with a cold, arrogant and calm expression. Her slender legs walked in the formation, and she was extremely confident in every step, with almost no hesitation. If Zhou Daocheng hadn't been knowledgeable, he would have been deceived by her appearance. For a moment, Zhou Daocheng was speechless, sitting on the top of the mountain board, watching the two people walking in the formation. After a long time, Zhou Daocheng vaguely discovered that this flame snake lady might really not understand any formations and did not understand the changes in the formations at all. And she didn't seem to intend to leave the formation. Instead, she kept sensing the position of Zhou Daocheng, the formation master, in the formation, and tried to find it. When the two were closest, they were only tens of meters apart. But due to the changes in the formation, Zhou Daocheng forcibly led her to another place. As the two gradually moved away, Zhou Daocheng could clearly see that the woman frowned slightly, as if she was confused. Zhou Daocheng was greatly puzzled by this discovery. In this formation, you don't want to break away from the formation, but you actually try to find the position of the formation master. Isn't it too naive? Or maybe this woman has other plans? No matter what the reason, facing such a powerful foundation-building expert, Zhou Daocheng did not dare to relax at all and always maintained a high level of vigilance. He believed that the other party could not stay in his formation all the time, and changes would happen sooner or later, and the changes he expected also appeared as he wished when night fell. As the sky gradually darkened, the night enveloped the sky, and the foggy valley became even more gloomy. The cold wind passed through the canyon, sweeping the light clouds and mist, making this valley shrouded by the formation even more weird. The foundation-building woman with the red snake tattoo looked up at the sky, and a strange look appeared in her eyes. Zhou Daocheng vaguely saw worry and thought in this look. Then, in Zhou Daocheng's surprised eyes, the red snake-tattooed woman turned around without hesitation, condensed a strong aura in her palm, and slapped Wang Qin's chest with one palm. Bang! Boom! Wang Qin was shocked. He didn't have time to react before the blazing flames covered his chest, followed by a smell of charcoal. In just one breath, the 9th-level Qi refining expert fell down in a daze, without a breath left. After doing all this, the woman with the red snake tattoo withdrew her hand indifferently and turned away. This time, she did not continue to wander around the valley, but went straight to a thick cliff and simply dug out a small cave. Chapter 155 Burning in Flames. Zhou Daocheng was also stunned for a moment, as if he didn't understand the other party's intention. Is this planning to live in his own formation? And all the doubts reached their peak at midnight. Although the woman with the red snake tattoo entered the cave, Zhou Daocheng still clearly sensed her and monitored her. And the next scene changed his calm eyes. When midnight came, the woman with the red snake tattoo suddenly frowned, and the hot spiritual energy in her body fluctuated violently, like a volcano about to erupt. Even Zhou Daocheng stood up from the top of the mountain very sensitively, not only looking deeply at the cave where the woman with the red snake tattoo was. What a terrifying fluctuation! What does she want to do? However, when he saw the scene in the cave, he couldn't help but frown deeply. The woman with the red snake tattoo half squatted on the ground, with blue veins bulging on her white neck, as if she was enduring intense pain. A lot of sweat came out, and her black hair was completely soaked in sweat, scattered and attached to her neck, back and temples. Then, the terrifying fire-attributed spiritual energy in their body emerged uncontrollably from the surface of the skin, evaporating all the sweat that came out, and also burning the red tights. Zhou Daocheng could see that the clothes that the woman wore were of good quality, but they had no resistance to the flames and were all burned. The woman with the red snake tattoo was half kneeling on the ground, her perfect curves were slightly embarrassed, and her fair skin was stained with a layer of red, which was clearly visible in Zhou Daocheng's eyes. What was even more eye-catching was the red snake tattoo on the woman's chest. The agile snake body was actually emitting a bright red light at this moment, and mysterious patterns appeared on the snake body, flickering in the dim cave. The red snake pupils emitted a gloomy light, like a real spirit snake, exuding a chilling breath. And the flames emitted from the woman with the red snake tattoo seemed to come from this red snake. But at this moment, she could no longer control her own power, as the clothes covering the tattoo were completely burned. This extremely beautiful red snake tattoo was also completely revealed in front of him. No, Zhou Daocheng was surprised to find that it might not be called a red snake tattoo, but a double snake tattoo. Because there is not only one red snake, but two snakes. The snake body spreads from the shoulders and arms, swimming in the clouds and mist, and spreads to the chest and abdomen. The red snake tattoo on the left arm spreads from the left side to the top of the chest, showing the posture of a red snake spitting out its tongue, and the red tongue extends to the top of the clavicle. The ice snake tattoo on the right side is also symmetrical with the left side, spreading from the right arm downward, passing by the red snake on the left side, and spreading to the lower abdomen. A red snake and an ice snake form this perfect double snake tattoo, which is weird and extremely beautiful, making people unable to look away for a long time. At least Zhou Daocheng can't look away for the time being. Under normal conditions, the red snake tattoo looks like just an ordinary tattoo. But at this moment, as the fire attribute aura continued to surge throughout the body, the red snake's nimble body flickered, showing complex and fine lines, densely covering the snake's body. Indistinctly, Zhou Daocheng seemed to see the shadow of the array pattern in it. What a wonderful tattoo! What on earth is this? Zhou Daocheng stared at it, unwilling to leave for a moment. The wonderful changes in it made him unable to extricate himself for a while. And this scene lasted for a whole hour. The woman with the red snake tattoo has gone from half kneeling to now completely crawling on the ground. The pain of the flames burning her body made her tense muscles twitch slightly uncontrollably. When the flames gradually converged into her body, the woman with the red snake tattoo half lying on the ground, breathing in fresh air, her chest constantly rising and falling, driving the exquisite double snake tattoos all over her body. At this time, the red snake tattoo has returned to its original state, and the complicated lines have disappeared, but Zhou Daocheng still did not retract his eyes, just frowned and stared blankly. The woman with the red snake tattoo seemed to sense Zhou Daocheng approaching, and her cold eyes looked outside the cave, her slightly haggard eyes still exuding a sense of coldness. However, she did not choose to drive him away, but quietly lay on the ground, as if everything was not over yet. Another hour later, Zhou Daocheng vaguely sensed that an extremely cold breath was drifting, which made him shudder. The red snake tattoo on the upper body of the woman with the red snake tattoo kneeling on the ground had subsided, but the ice snake tattoo on the lower body was ready to move at this moment. The icy blue light appeared on the body of the agile little snake, and between the looming, the extremely cold breath began to emerge from the body surface. Having just experienced the extreme heat, the body was in extreme weakness, and now it was eroded by the cold power. The woman's muscles twitched uncontrollably, consciously resisting the cold. But the effect was minimal. The cold air seeped out from the surface of the skin, forming ice crystals on the body surface, and the extreme coldness enveloped the whole body. The woman with the red snake tattoo had enough strength to resist the flames of the red snake before, but now facing the ice snake, she had no strength at all and could only be forced to endure it. Even her originally strong aura was a little weak at this moment, and her originally cold eyes began to become dazed at this moment. Under the erosion of such a terrifying force, even this foundation-building strong man seemed to be unable to resist. Her strength was now gone. After half an hour, the woman with the red snake tattoo was already dying. Zhou Daocheng's eyes wrinkled slightly, and he slowly walked out of the mist. The purple robe was also stained with a layer of frost under the frosty atmosphere. The bronze mask with a simple outline was covered with a layer of ice blue frost, which actually had a unique beauty. Zhou Daocheng walked forward slowly and walked into the cave covered with ice. The soles of his shoes stepped on the ice chips, making a slight friction sound. The woman with the red snake tattoo seemed to notice the visitor and opened her eyes with difficulty. There was still no emotion in the depths of her eyes. She just looked at the visitor coldly and was unable to do anything else. Zhou Daocheng did not say much. He took out a wooden barrel from the storage bag and put a pack of fire-burning cloud medicine pack into it. Then he used spiritual energy to boil the clear spring, mixed it with spiritual spring liquid and some second-level spiritual liquid. It was a red bath with steam rising, like the flowing sky glow, exuding a hot breath. Zhou Daocheng leaned over, picked up the woman on the ground, and put her into the fire cloud bath. When the frost came into contact with the boiling hot water, it slowly thawed. The stiff body of the woman with the red snake tattoo gradually became soft again. But the extreme coldness could not be suppressed even by a whole pack of fire cloud medicine pack. The red medicinal power was constantly absorbed, and the temperature of the hot water with boiling hot water became lower and lower. Zhou Daocheng frowned and continued to heat the water to keep it hot. Although the coldness brought by the ice snake could not be completely eliminated, it could be suppressed to a certain extent, so that a thick layer of ice would not form on the body surface. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 156 Double Snake Tattoo. After only a dozen minutes, the red snake woman slowly opened her eyes. Her lifeless eyes were still cold, but more powerless and haggard. She just glanced coldly at the person in front of her, and then slowly closed her eyes. Zhou Daocheng did not speak either. He looked at the pattern on the ice snake tattoo carefully through the gradually clear water surface. This process lasted for more than half an hour. Finally, the ice snake gradually restrained its breath, absorbed the cold air back into its body, and everything returned to calm. And Zhou Daocheng was still immersed in the mysterious double snake pattern, unable to extricate himself for a long time. After a long time, a hoarse and cold voice sounded, "Young array master, have you seen enough?" Zhou Daocheng was not surprised. He knew that the woman had woken up long ago. He said lightly, "It is indeed shocking that it is ingenious. Can you understand the lines in the tattoo?" Zhou Daocheng shook his head slightly. "It is too complicated. It is impossible to see such complicated lines in an hour." The woman with the red snake tattoo slowly opened her eyes and glanced at Zhou Daocheng coldly. "The lines have disappeared, so what are you looking at now? Even if there are no lines, this is a work of art in itself." Zhou Daocheng's eyes were indifferent, and his eyes were deep under the bronze mask. The next moment, he stretched out his hand for some reason and slowly touched the tattoo in the tightened pupils of the woman with the red snake tattoo. Following the ups and downs of the small snake tattoo, Zhou Daocheng seemed to be able to feel the powerful energy contained in it. The extremely obscure lines were engraved under the skin and would only appear when the spiritual energy was strong. "As a formation master, what do you think of this pattern?" A cold voice sounded, and the breathing was slightly heavy. Zhou Daocheng's eyes were completely immersed in the tattoo, and he didn't care about the woman's question. "Lift your arm, let me see it." The red snake tattooed woman glanced at him coldly, raised her right arm slightly, and the complete tattoo pattern appeared in front of her. "Is that enough?" Zhou Daocheng nodded slightly, withdrew his hand and said, "Okay, please." The red snake tattooed woman slowly put down her arm and stood up from the wooden barrel generously. Her tall figure was almost the same as Zhou Daocheng. She raised her legs and stepped out of the wooden barrel. The fire attribute aura evaporated the moisture on her body, and then put on a set of the same red tights. At the same time, a slightly hoarse voice asked, "Formation master, you should have guessed why I came to you, right? For this tattoo?" "Yes, you have seen it with your own eyes. Is there a way to crack this tattoo?" Zhou Daocheng smiled faintly. "In order to let me see this tattoo, the girl has paid a lot." The woman with the red snake tattoo looked at him coldly and said calmly, "Then you should also know that things are not for nothing. If you can't give me a satisfactory answer, you should know the consequences." Ahem. Zhou Daocheng coughed awkwardly a few times, and then he remembered that the person in front of him was a foundation building expert known as Flame Charm Snake Princess. In her prime, she could almost kill herself with a slap, but now that she has been eroded by ice and fire, her strength has been greatly reduced. "Senior Flame Charm Snake Princess, you think too highly of me. How can I crack the secrets hidden in this set of tattoos?" "Then, you plan to see it for nothing?" Zhou Daocheng was speechless. "Didn't you come to see it? Why do you blame me?" But thinking of the other party's strength, Zhou Daocheng still thought carefully and organized his words. "It's not that I don't want to help, it's just that I have the will but not the strength. And there are more than just array patterns in this set of tattoos. The woman with the red snake tattoo stared coldly, wondering, more than array patterns? What do you mean? Some of the patterns in your double snake tattoos do come from array skills, but there is another part, which should come from talismans and refining techniques. Talismans and refining? The woman with the red snake tattoo was stunned, and she never expected such an answer. In order to crack the tattoo on her body, she has been looking for clues everywhere for many years, and barely found the part that matches the array. That's why she tried to find an array master to help crack this tattoo, remove the influence of the tattoo on her, or completely control it. But Zhou Daocheng's answer undoubtedly increased the difficulty several times, which made her frown. You didn't lie to me? Zhou Daocheng stood with his hands behind his back, looking through the bronze mask and looking at the lifelike snake head on his chest again. But this time he didn't have any frivolous intentions, his eyes were full of solemnity, and he said, I don't need to lie to you, and if I guess correctly, you should have practiced a set of physical training exercises, right? How do you know? Red Snake Tattoo asked in surprise, and doubts appeared on his cold face. That's right. Zhou Daocheng murmured to himself, and a look of understanding appeared in the depths of his eyes, with a hint of surprise. After more than an hour of observation, Zhou Daocheng didn't know much information from the tattoo, and could only make a rough analysis and guess based on his understanding. Because the lines in it are very complicated, they are not clear-cut, but various lines are mixed together to form a natural whole. He had to peel off that part of the formation and form a separate formation pattern before he could barely understand it. He was able to do this because of the help of epiphany and understanding, otherwise it would be difficult to do it. But it is also because of this that, after an in-depth analysis of the double snake tattoo, Zhou Daocheng came to a surprising conclusion, a conclusion that even he found impossible. So at this moment, his gaze towards the double snake tattoo was so complicated and tangled. If his guess was true, it would be too scary. The woman with the red snake tattoo stared at Zhou Daocheng's gaze and said, Boy, why can you guess that I practice body refining techniques? Have you discovered something? Senior, yeah, and my snake G. Don't call me that name, it's just a random name given by outsiders. Just call me Red Snake. The woman with the red snake tattoo frowned. Zhou Daocheng nodded, not caring too much, and said, Senior Red Snake, if I correctly guess, the double snake tattoo on your body should be a fusion of 3 immortal cultivation techniques: formation, talisman, and magic weapon. Then, what is the purpose of carving this tattoo? Zhou Daocheng turned his head and looked at the cold and beautiful woman in front of him, and said meaningfully, If I guess correctly, someone wants to refine you into a talisman treasure. The pupils of the woman with the red snake tattoo shrank suddenly. A talisman is a type of talisman, extremely precious, and the lowest quality is at the 2nd level. It is a talisman that is engraved by a late-stage foundation-building cultivator who has powerful spells and refined into a talisman that can be used multiple times by future generations, and burst out with power that is no weaker than that of the cultivator when he was alive. Many cultivators from powerful families will use this method to leave talismans before they die to enrich the family's heritage. Tattoos and talismans, two completely different things, are brought up at the same time at this time. Chapter 157 Humanoid Talisman. After Zhou Daocheng finished speaking, the woman's eyes suddenly shrank, and her calm breath began to float again. You sure? Zhou Daocheng said lightly. 2 snake patterns, 1 ice and 1 fire, should contain these 2 extremely powerful spells. Someone used the method of carving talismans, using the body of the senior as a talisman to carve. Then, use the weapon refining technique to stabilize it, and combine it with the body refining technique to integrate the skin and tattoo into one, forming an existence similar to a talisman. As for the formation, Zhou Daocheng paused. The formation is only used for control to prevent the 2 spells from getting out of control. Otherwise, with the strength of the senior, it should not be possible to suppress the 2 spells. Hearing this, Red Snake lowered his eyes and had no intention of refuting, but fell into deep thought for a long time. Zhou Daocheng didn't bother him. When he guessed the result, He was also shocked and didn't want to believe it for a long time. After all, it is truly incredible to refine a monk's body into a talisman. And this woman with the red snake tattoo must have a past that she doesn't know about. After a long time, the woman with the red snake tattoo raised her head, her expression returned to indifference, and said, "Then do you have a way to remove the tattoo, or contain the energy in the tattoo?" "It's difficult, very difficult." Zhou Daocheng told the truth, "It's difficult. But at least it means it's not impossible." Zhou Daocheng thought about it and said, "Maybe, there is a solution to everything." The woman with the red snake tattoo looked calmly, looking at the thick clouds and mist in the sky, seemingly lost in thought. A few seconds later, an indifferent voice said, "Boy, do you plan to build a market here? Good. It is not easy to build a city. You have to deal with the second-level monsters that may exist around you, as well as the open and secret attacks of human monks. It is difficult for you to do it without a strong foundation builder." Zhou Daocheng thought for a while, slightly and said, "Indeed, the value of a city is greater than imagined. The foundation building forces in Beifang City will not let this happen easily." These days, he has been thinking about the micro-market. The benefits brought by the market are quite large. How can a group of qi-refining casual cultivators be able to touch them? The only support in Zhou Daocheng's hands is this second-level high-grade formation, and his eldest brother Zhou Daocheng, who may break through to the foundation building stage. But these two trump cards are still a bit weak after all. At this time, the woman with the red snake tattoo took the initiative to mention it, which also aroused Zhou Daocheng's curiosity. "Senior Red Snake, do you have any good opinions?" The woman with the red snake tattoo turned around and said with cold eyes, "I will help you station in this valley, and you can help me find a solution to the double snake tattoo." Zhou Daocheng was stunned for a moment, frowned and thought for a while, and said, "Senior Red Snake, although I looked at your body and touched it by the way, it was because of helplessness. You can't rely on me, otherwise, I let go of the formation. How about you leave now?" Although the offer of the woman with the red snake tattoo was very tempting, Zhou Daocheng did not let the benefits get to his head. The protection of a strong foundation builder certainly moved his heart, but the existence of the double snake tattoo engraved in the seal made him even more fearful. It is a conservative estimate that the person who can use such a sophisticated method to carve this tattoo of ice and fire snakes must be at least at the peak of foundation building, or even the Zaifu. Once you get too involved with this woman, you will inevitably encounter serious trouble in the future. Moreover, he would rather face the real difficulties in the process of establishing a market than the mysterious crisis that is beyond his control. The woman with the red snake tattoo was quite surprised. She didn't expect this person to refuse so decisively. "Boy, but the existence of the tattoo carved in the seal is not within the King Shan sect. You don't need to worry about this." "Senior, there is no need to say anything more." "Senior, please leave." "Boy, do you think I'm giving you a face?" A cold murderous intent appeared in the eyes of the woman with the red snake tattoo. "Well," Zhou Daocheng paused, then remembered the other party's identity and strength. Looking at the current posture, it seems that as long as he does not agree, the first problem he will face is the Yanmai snake lady in front of him, whose strength has reached the second or even third level of foundation establishment. Although the opponent is weak now, he is still a strong foundation builder after all. Maybe the opponent can't do anything to him in the formation, but if the opponent is determined to take action, he can directly flatten all the mountains here, and then the formation will naturally be broken without attacking. After thinking deeply for a long time, Zhou Daocheng kept weighing the pros and cons in his mind, but he never found a suitable solution. Finally, he looked at the woman in front of him helplessly and said, "Senior, you can stay, but you need to agree to 3 conditions." The woman with the red snake tattoo said coldly, "You say it, but I suggest you pay attention to your discretion. Don't worry. First of all, Senior can't leave Wugu at will. I don't want you to come back with your enemies." "No problem. Besides, my physical condition does not allow me to leave often." Zhou Daocheng nodded. He also believed that if ice and fire attacks occurred frequently like today, then she would often fall into weakness, which would require a long period of recuperation, and naturally she would not leave easily. Second, give me 3 opportunities to order you 3 times a year, and you must agree to it unconditionally. As soon as he finished speaking, he was greeted by a pair of cold eyes. Do you think I will agree? Zhou Daocheng explained. It won't go too far, the most it can do is kill people or protect people. Once a year, if it's too much, I'll refuse. Okay. Zhou Daocheng agreed happily and continued. Third, if the senior needs me to crack the formation in the double snake tattoo, I need to further study the tattoo. The woman with the red snake tattoo stared at the purple-robed man in front of her quietly. After a long time, she said lightly, "Boy, do you want to take advantage of me blatantly?" Ahem. I have a pure heart and integrity. I never do evil things. I have a family and will never do beastly things. I hope the senior can rest assured. Zhou Daocheng said seriously. At this moment, his face was full of 2 words: integrity. The woman with the red snake tattoo did not speak, still looked at him coldly, and then turned and walked into the fog. Finally, she left a sentence. I will live in this valley in the future. You leave me a place to stay. No problem, but senior, I don't know if I should say something. Say it. You are going in the direction of the exit, or you come back first. The woman with the red snake tattoo: At dawn, Zhou Daocheng returned to the depths of the foggy valley. Also returning was the woman with the red snake tattoo, known as the Flame Snake Princess. When they saw this person for the first time, almost all the casual cultivators held their breath for a second, cold sweat broke out from their temples, and their breathing became lighter. Chapter 158 Huge Harvest. Senior, this. Zhou Daocheng did not say much, but calmly ordered, from now on, Senior Chish will protect the safety of Fog Valley, and the third valley will be given to you to live in. Do you understand? Understood. Everyone fell into a daze. Fear, curiosity, doubt. All kinds of emotions filled their minds. Even Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan were puzzled by the situation in front of them, and they could not figure out what happened even if they scratched their heads. The crisis of life and death originally ended with the participation of a foundation-building expert, and this foundation-building expert was the murderous and vicious Yanmai Snake Princess, which made them dare not breathe. The woman with the red snake tattoo glanced at everyone and did not care about these casual cultivators at all. She just showed up, then looked at Zhou Daocheng and said lightly, "In the future, no one except you will be allowed to enter the valley where I live." Ignoring the surprised looks of others, Zhou Daocheng nodded and said, "Don't worry, your existence is top secret and no one will disturb you." The woman with the red snake tattoo slightly, then turned and walked towards the direction of the third valley. The so-called third valley is the residence of the female mirage cloud python. Compared with the first 2 valleys, this valley is relatively small in area and more hidden. It must pass through the first 2 valleys to find this place. So it is understandable to arrange the woman with the red snake tattoo here. After she entered, Zhou Daocheng directly controlled the formation to isolate the valley to ensure that outsiders could not enter it. After doing all this, Zhou Daocheng turned his head to look at the stunned people and said, "The existence of Senior Red Snake will be the biggest secret of Fog Valley. Please don't spread it." Of course, Yuan Zong spoke a little unsteadily. Wei Hanshan also said, "Senior, don't worry, we still know our limits." Zhao smiled bitterly and spread his hands, saying, "Even if you don't tell us about this existence, we dare not tell anyone." Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect that the flame-charming Snake Queen would be so fierce. Just showing up made everyone present silent. But it's good to do so. It can be regarded as adding a shackle to everyone. Zhou Daocheng said no more, but turned his attention to the harvest this time. The bodies of the 3 mirage pythons have been collected and piled up in the second valley. Just seeing these 3 huge monsters made him feel surprised. 3 first-grade top-grade monster bodies. The value represented by them is enough to make everyone excited. Zhou Daocheng was not polite and directly arranged Meng Yushan to divide them. Most of the materials on the mirage python are of great value, including snake scales, snake meat, snake blood, and snake bones. The most valuable of them is undoubtedly the extremely hard scales. If it is refined into a defensive magic weapon, the value can be doubled. Zhou Daocheng collected all the snake scales and snake bones and planned to hand them over to the family's weapon refiner to refine the magic weapon. Everyone had no objection to this. After all, Zhou Daocheng contributed the most to successfully complete this task. Whether it is the second-level top-grade maze or the first-level top-grade golden spear 100 vine formation and quicksand formation, they are the main forces in this battle and played a vital role. So it is understandable that Zhou Daocheng took the lion's share. As for the snake blood and snake meat, Zhou Daocheng was not too greedy, but distributed them equally to everyone present. Even so, everyone still felt that they had made a lot of money. This kind of monster flesh and blood rich in spiritual energy is also very precious in the cultivation world. If it is eaten frequently, it will be of great benefit to improving strength. Especially for weaker chi refining cultivators. The meat of the top-grade monsters of the first level is not much different from elixirs, and even has better effects. So these flesh and blood are a very good choice for everyone, whether they are eaten or sold after the establishment of the market. However, the corpse of the Mirage Cloud Python is not the biggest gain this time. Since entering the Fog Valley, Zhou Daocheng has discovered a situation that makes him extremely confused. That is, he did not find the existence of spiritual veins in this Fog Valley. What's even more strange is that in the entire Fog Valley, the spiritual energy is not weak, and the concentration of spiritual energy in each piece of air is the same, all reaching the second level of the lower grade. This situation is simply incredible and makes him completely unable to understand. However, when he conducted a carpet search around the Fog Valley, he accidentally found two things, which made him suddenly realize, there are actually many fog spirit grasses growing around the nest of the Mirage Cloud Python. The mist spirit grass is a second-level spiritual medicine, extremely rare and precious, and is also an extremely rare treasure in the world of immortal cultivation. This kind of spiritual grass has only one function, which is to continuously generate spiritual energy and then release it into the air. If a mist spirit grass is planted in a cave, the overall spiritual energy concentration will inevitably increase significantly, just like a blessed land. In this Fog Valley, Zhou Daocheng actually found 8 mist spirit grasses, and the quality of all of them reached the second level, and even 3 of them have reached the second level middle quality. In this way, it can also be understood why there is such a rich spiritual energy in this Fog Valley even though there is no spiritual vein. On the one hand, it is the mist spirit grass that generates spiritual energy. On the other hand, it is because this natural formation is filled with extremely dense clouds and mist, which locks all the spiritual energy inside and creates an environment with rich spiritual energy. The spiritual energy generated by the mist spirit grass, combined with the mist here, will further enhance the power of the formation. The two complement each other, creating the magical valley of Fog Valley in this extremely coincidental way. And this harvest is not over yet. While discovering the mist spirit grass, Zhou Daocheng also found another rare treasure of heaven and earth, Fog Breath Stone. A second-level treasure of heaven and earth, this ore can create clouds and mist, and is an excellent formation material, suitable for arranging mazes. The fact that Fog Valley can condense such dense fog is also inseparable from the existence of Fog Breath Stone. Moreover, after Zhou Daocheng checked, he found that there were quite a few Fog Breath Stones, which was a small Fog Breath Stone vein with various qualities of Fog Breath Stones. Such a discovery really surprised everyone. The value of the Mist Breath Stone and the Mist Spirit Grass is only higher than that of the 3 Mirage Cloud Pythons, especially the Mist Spirit Grass, each of which is equivalent to a small spiritual vein. If it were to flow into the market, it would definitely be snatched up by a large number of family forces, and even the foundation building forces would be jealous and make a move. When summarizing the harvest this time, everyone showed an expression of disbelief. Chapter 159, Publicity Market. 3 Mirage Cloud Python Corpses, 1 Mirage Cloud Python Baby, 8 second-level Fog Spirit Grasses, a small Fog Breath Stone vein, and a second-level high-grade natural maze. If strictly speaking, The woman with the red snake tattoo can be considered one of the gains this time. Any one of these gains alone is enough to make the foundation building monks go crazy. At the same time, Wu Gu's excellent conditions in all aspects have also laid a solid foundation for the construction of the micro market. Next, everyone also made a rough division of these three valleys. The first valley is located on the outermost edge of the three valleys, with the largest area and flat and empty terrain. Therefore, after discussion, it was decided to use this place as the main body of a micro-market and build shops and other buildings for daily transactions. The second valley is slightly smaller than the first valley, but the soil here is moist and it is also where the mist breath stone and spirit mist grass exists, so the aura environment is better. After discussion, everyone decided to cultivate a spiritual field here and open caves on the surrounding rock walls. These spiritual fields and caves are most desired by casual cultivators from all walks of life. They can be rented or sold to obtain a large amount of spiritual stones. As elders, everyone present will be assigned a certain share and occupy a part of the spiritual field and cave. Whether it is for your own residence or use, or for sale or lease to other monks, you can freely arrange it. However, no matter how we arrange it, that is a matter for later. The most important thing now is how to open the market. First of all, in the first valley, it is necessary to make a preliminary layout and build shops, so that the city can at least take shape. This matter was left to Zhao, who was well connected. Secondly, the promotion of the micro-market is also particularly important. Only when there are enough monks coming and going can the market develop smoothly, and this thing requires everyone's efforts. Wei Hanshan, Zhao, Liu Chengzu, Yuanzong, the female monk, Meng Yushan and Lin Yuan returned to the vicinity of Beifang City together and began to use their own connections to spread the mini-Fang market. They are all 9th level qi refining experts. They have quite a reputation in the surrounding area and have made many friends over the years. Therefore, when they started to promote the micro-market at the same time, they immediately aroused the interest of many casual cultivators. Especially during the recent period, Beifang City has been affected by the war, and prices have fluctuated wildly, which has long made people complain. Therefore, when Wuyifang City began to be promoted, it immediately attracted the attention of many people and brought hope to many down and out casual cultivators. However, they also need to face a problem, that is, how to travel dozens of days to the relatively more dangerous Wuyifang City. There are only two solutions to this problem. First, clear the dangers along the way and create a safe path. Secondly, there is something in Wuyifang City that makes everyone flock to it, giving the casual cultivator enough motivation to go there. But no matter which one it is not easy to achieve, which is a big challenge for everyone. As for these problems, Zhou Daocheng naturally did not worry too much and left them all to others. As for himself, he stayed in the foggy valley to further improve the environment here. The first is this second-level fog formation. Although since entering the foggy valley, Zhou Daocheng seems to have command of this formation like an arm, turning his hands into clouds, almost everything is under control. But in reality, his control over the formation is very low. After all, he is only a first-level high-grade formation mage, and his control over the formation and depth of his understanding are far from enough. Therefore, he must further deepen his control and ensure that the entire foggy valley is under his control. But this matter is very difficult. Given his level of formation skills, it is impossible to jump directly from the level of a first-level high-level formation master to a second-level high-level formation master. Therefore, all he can do is to use time to polish it, continue to figure out the lines and changes of the formation, and deepen his understanding of this formation. And this realization lasted for a whole month. Sitting cross-legged on the highest mountain in the foggy valley, overlooking all the changes in the formation, letting the clouds and mist envelop the spiritual energy flow freely, and feeling the rhythm of it. After many days, when he opened his eyes again, a deep color flashed in his eyes, and the mysterious lines were engraved in his mind. When he calmed down and came to his senses, he was surprised to find out. He was originally only at the peak of the 8th level of qi refining, but he had successfully broken through to the 9th level of qi refining without knowing it, and was completely stable. Zhou Daocheng chuckled and murmured to himself, "I didn't expect that this realization would take so long." Fortunately, the surrounding spiritual energy is rich, otherwise I would have starved to death here. But the gain this time was not small. Although his formation skills were not greatly improved, it gave him a deeper understanding of the mist formation in front of him. If we say before, he could only control 5% of this formation. At this moment, his control strength can reach about 20%. Don't underestimate this 20%, because this represents 20% of the power of a second-order high-grade formation. At least in Zhou Daocheng's opinion, just 20% of the control power can give him the strength to compete with the strong foundation builders in the formation. Of course, the premise is that the opponent is not an array mage, otherwise, Zhou Daocheng himself could not guarantee whether he would be directly robbed of his control by a more powerful array master. Even more, the other party only needed to find a loophole in this natural array to break into it directly, completely out of Zhou Daocheng's control. Of course, this was due to the natural deficiency of the array and had nothing to do with Zhou Daocheng's control. So the second thing he had to do was to repair the loophole in this array, that is, the entrance they had entered before. This place was obviously an extremely important array in this array, and it should be suppressed with a powerful force, but there was only a small hill, which became the biggest flaw of this second-level upper-grade array. In order to solve this flaw, Zhou Daocheng thought of many ways, but still could not solve it. In the end, he found the woman with the red snake tattoo and used a second-level lower-grade magic weapon to suppress it here, which made up for this loophole. Therefore, the power of the entire array was strengthened by another 30%, and Zhou Daocheng's control over the array was slightly reduced. If the previous natural mist formation was a fake second-grade upper-grade formation, then this time, it was a top-level formation that truly reached the peak of the second-grade upper grade. Even if a second-grade formation master came, it would be difficult to break the formation from the outside, let alone easily take away Zhou Daocheng's control. Chapter 160 Earth Spirit House. After doing this, Zhou Daocheng finally let go of his worries. At least the safety here was fully guaranteed. The second-level high-grade formation, coupled with the garrison of the woman with the red snake tattoo, is enough to be fearless even if 2 or 3 foundation building experts forcefully break into the Foggy Valley at the same time. In the end, Zhou Daocheng still had one thing to do: adjust the distribution of spiritual energy in the Foggy Valley. Because there is no spiritual vein here, but the spiritual energy is provided by the fog spirit grass, the spiritual energy in the entire Fog Valley is relatively uniform, and all of them barely reach the second level. But this is not a good thing. It not only makes the spiritual energy more scattered, but also cannot be better utilized. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng used the formation to start adjusting the internal spiritual energy. 70% of the spiritual energy is concentrated in the outer areas of the entire Wugu Mountains, used to supply the operation of natural formations. After all, this formation is the foundation of everything. Secondly, 2.5% of the spiritual energy was concentrated in the third valley, raising the spiritual energy here to about the second level mid-level, providing training for the woman with the red snake tattoo. The last half-finished spiritual energy was gathered into the second valley, allowing the spiritual energy here to barely reach the peak of the first-order high-grade, just enough to meet the needs of a strong person at the 9th level of Qi training. In the first valley, there was only some spiritual energy leaking out, and the concentration of spiritual energy was almost only the first-order mid-grade. Distributed in this way, all spiritual energy can be perfectly utilized and can effectively avoid waste. After finishing this, Zhou Daocheng stood up and stretched. The work was over and he could take a rest. When he returned to the valley, he saw that Wei Hanshan had returned. At this time, he was leading several monks to build the first valley. The originally rocky valley has now been repaired and maintained. Its appearance has changed a lot, and several buildings have been initially constructed. Seeing Zhou Daocheng coming, Wei Hanshan also stepped forward hurriedly and bowed respectfully. Zhou Daocheng just waved his hand and asked, "Fellow Taoist Wei, is everyone's mission going well?" Elder Wei thought about it for a while and said, I am mainly responsible for building the city. This task is relatively easy. Now it is on track. It should only take a month at most to complete the construction. However, the tasks of the other fellow Taoists may be more troublesome. After all, it is not an easy task for all the casual cultivators to leave their original living areas and come to Xinfang City, which is 10 days away. Zhou Daocheng nodded slightly, and he could understand this. Yifang City is far away and there are many dangers along the way. Many weak casual cultivators are not willing to take this risk and would rather stay in Beifang City. Mr. Wei, what do you think can be used to solve this problem? Zhou Daocheng asked. Elder Wei sighed and said, Senior, relying solely on personal connections to promote the market is not enough after all. We need to use some real benefits to attract these casual cultivators. Zhou Daocheng thought thoughtfully. Rogue cultivators are notorious for not letting go of hawks when they see rabbits. Without real benefits, they are definitely not willing to take the risk of walking 10 days to a brand new city. After thinking for a moment, Zhou Daocheng had an idea in his mind and said, Mr. Wei, if we hold an auction, will it have good results? Wei Hanshan shook his head slightly. The auction is not the focus. The most important thing is the attractive treasures in the auction. Fellow Taoist Wei, how do you think my cave-shaped formation is attractive to casual cultivators? Hearing this, Elder Wei's eyes lit up, and he thought for a moment and said, Of course there is no problem, but your cave formation, Senior, is of high quality, and ordinary casual cultivators shouldn't be able to afford it, right? Zhou Daocheng waved his hand. This is not a problem. Since we can refine the first-order high-grade formations, we can definitely refine the first-order low-grade and mid-grade formations. Hearing Zhou Daocheng's confident answer, Wei Hanshan also had a look of surprise in his eyes. It is precisely because he is a casual cultivator that he understands the meaning of the cave-type formation more deeply. A cave that can be carried with him, which can not only rest and practice at any time, but also perform defense and warning. For casual cultivators who hunt monsters in the wild all year round, this is tantamount to a magical weapon. It not only improves combat power, but also improves safety outside. Wei Hanshan thought about it and said with a little excitement, Senior, if we can really refine the first-order low-grade and middle-grade Dongfu-type Fangshi, I believe that most casual cultivators will flock to it, and by then they will be able to make Wu Yifang famous in one fell swoop. The name of the city. In that case, let's give it a try. Zhou Daocheng pondered for a moment, gave up the plan of continuing to rest in Foggy Valley, and returned directly to Balin Lake. But before that, he went to meet a woman with a red snake tattoo and handed her a jade tablet to facilitate her entry and exit in the formation. Afterwards, Zhou Daocheng embarked on his return journey. 10 days later, White Scale Lake, underground cave. Zhou Daocheng sat cross-legged, with 3 sets of formations placed in front of him, which are the basis for refining the cave-type formation, the first-order low-grade Earth Imperial formation, the first-order mid-grade Earth Wall formation, and the first-order high-grade Thick Earth formation. Using these 3 sets of formations as prototypes and using the spiritual fertile soil for production, a unique cave-type formation can be refined. For this cave-type formation, Zhu Dao became more convenient to distinguish it, so he gave it a nice name, Tu Ling Zhaoxi. Zhu Daocheng also thought hard about how to make it. He needed to meet the needs of different groups of people and create different Tu Ling Zhaoxi. After a period of thinking, Zhu Daocheng planned to refine 4 sets of earth spirit huts of different sizes. The first type is prepared for Lone Rangers and is also the most common earth spirit hut. The quality is the first grade inferior grade. After the formation is deployed, a delicate earth house will be formed, which contains simple facilities such as training rooms, bedrooms, and kitchens. At the same time, it has a certain defensive ability. Because of its low quality, the price is relatively cheap. Only 100 spirit stones are needed. The second type of earth spirit hut is prepared for the casual cultivation team, the 5-person earth spirit hut. It is also the first grade inferior grade, but the house in the formation is larger and is divided into 5 side-by-side rooms, which can accommodate 5 cultivators. The price is 200 inferior spirit stones. This is because many casual cultivation teams go out together, and they will not be so extravagant as to spend 100 spirit stones per person to buy earth spirit huts. So the market for this kind of collective dormitory is very good. Moreover, although the number of rooms seems to have doubled, in fact, for Zhou Daocheng, it is only a slight change in the array pattern, and the difficulty of refining is not very high. After all, whether it is the energy consumed, materials, and time, it is only to refine a first-level low-grade array. However, the wealth gained is several times that of an ordinary first-level low-grade earth defense array. Chapter 161 Auction in half a year. The third type of earth spirit house is transformed from the first-level medium-quality earth wall array. It has higher quality and more complete facilities. It is prepared for more wealthy cultivators. Considering that many powerful lone cultivators, or children of families and sects, are used to being pampered, they are too embarrassed to live in the same room with others, and they also dislike the single-room earth house as too simple. Therefore, Zhou Daocheng specially refined a high-end earth spirit house. It has 2 floors and is equipped with a variety of facilities such as training room, bedroom, shower room, tea break, etc. In addition to the original defensive ability of the earth wall array, a set of spirit gathering array is also arranged, which is more convenient for resting at night or resting mana at ordinary times. However, the price is relatively high, 500 spirit stones. This price has exceeded the price of most first-level medium-quality arrays, but Zhou Daocheng believe that there must be many cultivators willing to pay for it. The fourth type of earth spirit house is the highest quality and most complete, and it is improved from the first-level high-quality array, thick earth array. There is nothing special about the house inside. It is still a 2-story building with 7 bedrooms inside to facilitate the rest and cultivation of the casual cultivation team. But the real luxury of this first-grade earth spirit house is the array configuration. In addition to the strong defense of the thick earth array itself, it is also equipped with 3 other arrays with different functions. Mist array to cover the whereabouts. Gathering spirit array to gather spiritual energy to restore mana. Poison swamp array to form a trap next to the array to resist monsters. A multifunctional earth spirit house that combines defense, concealment, and cultivation. Not only can it be used as a cave to cultivate for a long time inside, but it can also be used as a position to resist the invasion of monsters. Whether it is a powerful casual cultivation team or some secluded cultivators, they will also be potential users of this high-end earth spirit house. So the price is also very high, requiring 2,000 spirit stones. But if you are in the wild, with such a multifunctional earth spirit house, the combat capability and safety will inevitably be greatly improved. Zhou Daocheng refined a set of each of the 4 types of earth spirit houses, and then handed them over to Meng Yushan and others. And it was officially confirmed that an auction would be held in Wugu Market 6 months later, mainly to auction this cave-type formation. The original propaganda without any basis became more convincing after the addition of the Earth Spirit House. Many teams of casual cultivators were completely attracted by this cave-type formation after just one look. Most casual cultivators will stay in the wild for more than dozens of days when they go out to hunt wild beasts, and during this time, most of they sleep in the wild. Therefore, they often need to face more dangers at night, always be alert to the movements around them, and often do not rest all night. The appearance of the Earth Spirit House perfectly solves these problems. Moreover, the price of this formation is not very expensive, especially the 2 first-level lower-grade formations. If you are relatively wealthy and a casual cultivator acting alone, then buy a single Earth Spirit House for 100 Spirit Stones. If there are a large number of independent cultivators, they can buy a 5-person Earth Spirit House together. The price is relatively cheaper, and each person only needs 40 Spirit Stones. Therefore, in just 1 month, the reputation of the Earth Spirit House has spread throughout the independent cultivator circle, including some families and forces, because there are also hunting teams monsters nearby. So they have also heard the news. And there is also a trace of curiosity about this new market built entirely by independent cultivators. However, There are also many powerful forces who sneered after hearing the news, precisely because of their strong strength. They deeply know how difficult it is to build a market, and how can a group of chi-refining independent cultivators achieve it. Whether it is curiosity, expectation or doubt, at least the reputation of the Fog Valley market has spread completely around, attracting the attention of a large number of cultivators. Whether this result is good or bad, Zhou Daocheng himself cannot judge. He could already foresee that when the auction opens in half a year, there will definitely be a large number of cultivators going there. Among them, there will be those who sincerely go there to buy items, and there will definitely be those who have ill intentions. There will definitely be open and covert attacks. So he must be prepared in all aspects. On the one hand, prepare the items for the auction, and on the other hand, strengthen his strength and take precautions. Because it is just a small auction, and the items auctioned are mainly Earth Spirit House, so Zhou Daocheng only needs to prepare some formations. In terms of strength, Wu Gu has a woman with a red snake tattoo and Zhou Daocheng, a formation master, who can control the second-level upper-grade mist formation. It is a very powerful force. Even if there are 2-3 foundation-building masters, they can deal with it calmly. And even if there are a lot of masters, they can barely rely on the formation to deal with it. On the surface, Wu Gu will also have 7 casual cultivators at the 9th level of Qi refining. Their strength is not weak, at least they can hold their own among casual cultivators. As long as no one provokes maliciously, there will not be too much trouble. However, the emergence of Wu Gu market and the outflow of various arrays still aroused the sensitive nerves of some people. Mo Yun Shanqi family. In the solemn hall, the middle-aged man looked solemn, holding a piece of letter paper in his hand, which recorded the list of the Wu Gu market auction. It was written splitting gold array. When he saw these 3 words, a hint of sinisterness appeared in the eyes of the middle-aged man, and some bad past memories came to his mind. A young man wearing the Qi family's clothing bowed and spoke respectfully. Master, we have already investigated in advance. The gold-splitting formation that appeared in Wu Yifang City should be the formation used by the Qiangling Snake sect. And the power that established Wu Yifang City is also likely to be the mysterious Shanghai sect. The man called the family looked gloomy and said lightly, a few sets of gold-splitting formations killed 4 Qi refining 9th level elders of my Qi family. It's really a good method. And the place where young Xiao was killed also showed signs of this formation, right? Yes. In addition to the traces of the gold-splitting formation found at the scene, there are also a lot of traces of another formation. After speculation, it should be the formation named Golden Vine Formation in the list. The young man spoke calmly, with a hint of hatred in his eyes. The Qi family has not been in a good situation in recent years. In the battle with the Spirit Snake sect, the originally good situation was ruined by several sets of formations, and 4 elders of the 9th level of Qi refining died one after another. The young head of the family, Qi Yunxiao, also died there in an inexplicable way. For a time, the family power was rapidly tightened, and the prestige of the head of the family was also questioned, making the entire Qi family shaky. At such a critical juncture, they were repeatedly targeted by hostile forces and had to give up a large number of peripheral bases, suffering heavy losses in a short period of time. In the end, it was the elders of the foundation building period who came out of retreat in advance, which stabilized the situation. Chapter 162 Conspiracy. The more he thought about this, the anger in the young man's eyes became heavier, and he whispered, Master, our Qi family has reached this point entirely because of this Shanhai Zong. Since they jumped out on their own initiative, we must not let this go. What an opportunity. The middle-aged man's eyes were low and calm. He just glanced at the young man lightly and asked in a cold voice, Don't let this opportunity go? Why don't you let it go? Naturally, we invite the 2 clan elders to take action and completely eliminate this sect. Snort. The next moment, Leng Heng, wrapped in powerful spiritual energy, instantly knocked the young man back several meters, and fell directly to the ground, with a horrified look in his eyes. The middle-aged man stood up slightly, moaning in the darkness, and said coldly, Does my son, Qi Xinlin, only have this kind of character, how can he be able to achieve great things in the future if he is so easily carried away by anger? The young man was lying on the ground, his pupils were bloodshot, his fists were clenched tightly, and he said hysterically, "Father, my Qi family has suffered heavy losses. This blood debt, it must be paid with blood." Stupid, do you know the opponent's strength? Do you know the opponent's trump card? Do you know their background? A force with an array master and the ability to organize and establish a city. Do you think their identity will be simple? If you really behave like this, my Qi family's century-old foundation will be destroyed sooner or later in your hands. The middle-aged man's eyes were calm and he said in a low voice, "After your brother dies, you will be the next head of the Qi family. Remember, no matter what happens, you should put the overall situation first and don't act out of emotion. It is a taboo to make enemies at will." Hearing this, the young man remained silent for a long time, and finally he seemed to be discouraged and said, "Father, what should we do?" The middle-aged man nodded slightly and said, "Everything will be done if you are prepared, and if you are not prepared, it will be ruined. Only by being prepared can you be safe. You must continue to investigate Balin Lake and understand the depth and background of Shanhaizong. When we understand him well enough, it's time to take action." "I understand, Father." The young man nodded solemnly. "Also, you must learn to rely on the strength of others. Don't rush forward all at once. You may break your head and get no benefits." "Father, what does this mean?" The middle-aged man glanced at him lightly and reminded, "Balin Lake was once the residence of the Zhou family. If we want to say who has come into contact with the Shanhaizong and who knows the Shanhaizong best, it must be the Zhou family." The young man frowned slightly and asked thoughtfully, "Father, I understand this too, but the Zhou family has been expelled by Shanhaizong. Where should we find them? And I remember that even Tanchai Mountain, the ancestral land of the Zhou family, was besieged by the two major foundation-building families of Chen and Ma. Now that the buildings are empty, who knows where to hide in a corner to heal?" Qi Zhen shook his head and said, "If you want to start from Tanchai, it is indeed difficult to find the Zhou family, but you can try to start from Balin Lake." After being prompted, the young man thought for a while, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he said, "Father, I understand. There must be more or less connections between Balin Lake and the Zhou family's new residence, and they will not hide it deliberately. We can definitely use this to find the Zhou family." "Not bad." The middle-aged man nodded with satisfaction. "Leave this matter to you. Don't let me down." With joy in his eyes, the young man responded quickly, "Don't worry, Father, I will lead people to investigate the traces of Zhou's family." After the young man left, the middle-aged man was still sitting in the hall. After a moment of silence, a black figure walked out of the hall behind him. The person was wearing a black mask and a black robe, completely shrouded in darkness, with a deep and dark aura. The black figure knelt on one knee, presented a secret message in his hand, and said, "Master, this is the news from all the foundation-building forces in Beifang City. Please read it." The middle-aged man's eyes were calm. He slowly picked up the secret letter and quietly checked the contents. After a long time, he slowly spoke, "As expected, the emergence of a brand new city will definitely stir up the nerves of many people. If only a few casual cultivators at the 9th level of Qi refining, this so-called Wugu Fangshi will become someone else's wedding dress sooner or later. Master, someone invited us to work together to solve Wugu Fang City." The black figure spoke slowly. "What about the conditions?" "After sending a strong foundation builder and successfully occupying Wugu Fang City, let our Qi family become one of the controllers." Hearing this, the middle-aged man did not show any joy, but just sneered calmly, "Ha ha, back then my Qi family wanted to settle in Beifang City and become one of the controllers there, but was blocked by all forces. As a result, now that we are encountering a difficult problem, we are asking for help from my Qi family. Do you really think that my Qi family will come at a moment's notice and leave at a moment's notice?" The black shadow spoke slowly and said, "Master, the other party must have had no choice but to do so. The war that broke out in King Shan sect transferred many foundation-building experts away, So the forces that control Beifang City are currently weak in overall strength. There are very few foundation building experts that can be sent out, so they thought of inviting us all to join the team. Do we need to agree? Promise? Why do you agree? The middle-aged man looked deeply and said, the strength of the Shanghai sect is unknown, and there is an array master standing behind it. There is no need for our chief family to confront him tit for tat. In the end, we will make him a mess. To this day, he still remembers how the Spirit Snake sect killed many foundation-building experts of the Qi family with just a few sets of first-level mid-level formations. Therefore, when facing the Shanghai sect, the deep-thinking head of the Qi family always maintained the greatest vigilance. Then, I refused? Black Shadow asked. No need. Tell them that my Qi family's foundation-building masters will not be able to come out of retreat until half a year later. Let them fight first, and we will take action later. They probably won't agree. Qi Zenlin snorted coldly. When they hit a wall, they will come to us for help sooner or later. Just do as I say. Yes. The Black Shadow slowly retreated. When everything returned to calm, Qi Zenlin's eyes were calm, and he muttered to himself, among the 5 forces that control Beifang City, only Disu sect and Jin sect have 2 foundation-building masters. After King Shan sect transferred 1, they can only send 2 foundation-building masters to target Wuyifang City at most. I just don't know if Shanghai sect can withstand the pressure. If not, don't blame my Qi family for being ruthless! A storm against the Zhou family and Wugu is brewing in secret. And Zhou Daocheng's mind is still all focused on the establishment of Wuyifang City. With the publicity during this period, the reputation of Wugu market has been growing, and has begun to spread among all the independent cultivators and even small and medium-sized forces. Many cultivators have also begun to approach the direction of Wugu. Perhaps at the beginning, many independent cultivators were still half believing and half doubting, and were unwilling to take the risk to go to Wugu. However, when they saw a large number of independent cultivators at the 9th level of Qi refining starting to go to the surrounding areas of Wugu to hunt monsters, they could not help but start to waver. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 163 5 Forces in Beifang City. Because from any perspective, the Mist Valley, which is closer to the East Great Wilderness, has higher quality monsters and more natural treasures. However, in the past, few people approached it because of the dangerous environment. But now, not only has the Mist Valley market has been established there, but there are also a large number of powerful independent cultivators going there to develop, which undoubtedly gives more independent cultivators new choices. For a time, a large number of independent cultivators who were mixed in Bay Market began to migrate eastward, so that some independent cultivators began to appear around the originally desolate Mist Valley, and this scene was also seen by all parties in Bay Market. It was only recently that Zhou Daocheng learned that Bay Market was controlled by 5 foundation-building forces. They are Disu sect, Jin sect, Zun Pavilion, Tuo Longmen, and Bei Iwa Pavilion. Among them, Disu sect and Jin sect are the strongest, with 2 foundation-building masters. Zun Pavilion, on the other hand, exists in the form of a chamber of commerce, has the strongest control over Bay Market, and is a force that puts interests first. The identities of Fire Dragon Gate and 100 Flower Pavilion are somewhat special. Their founders are all foundation-building casual cultivators. In order to establish Bay Market and strengthen the strength of the market, 2 foundation-building casual cultivators were recruited. After they joined Bay Market, they obtained a large number of spirit stones and resources, so they founded Fire Dragon Gate and 100 Flower Pavilion respectively, completely breaking away from the identity of casual cultivators. Therefore, for many powerful casual cultivators, if they can become the controller of the market, it is very likely to completely change their fate. But Zhou Daocheng is not too worried about these 5 forces, because with the war, Each force has a foundation-building strongman who is withdrawn, which greatly reduced the power of the entire Bay market. According to Zhou Daocheng's estimation, even if the other party sent all the foundation-building strongmen to attack Wugu, the number would not exceed 3. It is precisely because of this that Zhou Daocheng dared to promote Wugu market unscrupulously. Zhou Daocheng still understands the principle of taking advantage of his illness to kill him. If we can't take advantage of the current opportunity to completely establish the Wugu market, once the 5 forces come to their senses, there will be no chance at all. Zhou Daocheng tried to seize this opportunity, but the 5 forces in Bay market were unwilling to give him any chance. During this period of time, they have discovered that a large number of independent cultivators have begun to leave Bay market, and the number of monster materials and natural treasures purchased has also been greatly reduced, which has greatly damaged the interests of all forces. Fortunately, the sales of elixirs, magic tools, and talismans have not declined significantly, but everyone is still not optimistic about this, because Wugu market has a bigger gimmick, formation. And it is a cave formation that combines cave cultivation and battle, which attracts a large number of independent cultivators, as well as many families and sects. This made the 5 forces in Bay market smelled an extremely dangerous atmosphere and began to explore and understand Wugu. For them, the only chance to stop the rise of Wugu market is the auction in half a year. That was when Wugu market was officially established, and it was also an opportunity for Wugu market to make a name for itself. It only needed to destroy it and crush Wugu with absolute strength, which was enough to completely destroy this emerging market. But for Zhou Daocheng, he was also waiting for this opportunity. In the next few months, Zhou Daocheng had been making preparations in all aspects. First of all, he needed to refine formations of various qualities, especially the first-level lower-quality Earth Spirit House, because formations were the biggest gimmick of Wugu market. As long as everything went well, he could completely rely on the influence of Earth Spirit House to establish Wugu's status in one fell swoop. Secondly, an auction in a market must not rely solely on formations, but also need other items to support the scene. Therefore, the preparation of various other resources also needs to be put on the agenda. For example, Zhao Yunzhi's silk inner armor, the Yue wine brewed by Zhou Daocheng. Huaniyang used the technology of the spiritual plant master to plant a large number of spiritual grains. Qin Lai refined a large number of first-level pills, as well as various magical instruments urgently refined by the Zhou family members. These resources may not be particularly precious, but they are all items that are in great demand by casual cultivators. In addition, in order to increase the influence of this auction, Zhou Daocheng also prepared several finale auction items. Although the quality is not high, the value is extraordinary. The first thing to bear the brunt is the formation. He prepared several sets of first-level medium-quality fusion formations, splitting gold formation and golden vine formation. The quality of the first-level medium quality can be used by most casual cultivators, and the power it bursts out can almost reach the 8th level of qi refining. Even the power of the instantaneous burst of the split gold formation can reach the 9th level of qi refining in an instant. Once you have a set of formations with such power in your hand, it is almost equivalent to having an extra trump card, which is enough to fight back in desperate situations. In addition to the formation, Zhou Daocheng also contacted the head of the family specifically to get 3 first-level top-quality Ningling pills. Just relying on the words of a small foundation-building pill is enough to attract the attention of a large number of cultivators. At first, the head of the family, Zhu Qingyai, was very reluctant to give it up. After all, this rare elixir actually has extraordinary significance for many foundation-building families. If a large number of Ningling pills can be preserved, perhaps a strong foundation-building person can be cultivated with them in the future. Regarding this situation, Zhou Daocheng only asked the head of the family one question: "This Ningling pill, do you want to use it, or do I?" This sentence broke the defense of the serious Zhu Qingyai. What's the use of just having the soul-condensing pill? Someone has to use it. There are only 3 foundation-building masters in the Zhu family now, but who dares to take such a big risk and take a soul-condensing pill? Instead of keeping it in hand, It is better to sell it directly in exchange for more wealth to cultivate the family's descendants. So after thinking for a long time, Zhou Qingyai handed the 3 soul-condensing pills to Zhou Daocheng. He actually didn't know what Zhou Daocheng did, and he never deliberately understood it. He just learned about the underwater cave from the Zhou family. As a family head, he can see much more than ordinary family members, and can also perceive deeper meanings from small details. A large number of water-repellent stones requires a lot of wealth and resources, which is almost impossible even for the Zhou family. Building an underwater cave is a huge project that requires manpower and material resources. Zhou Daocheng did not seek help from his family, which shows that he is not short of people. And the spiritual honey before, how could it be a simple matter to obtain so much high-quality spiritual honey from the spiritual insect swarm? Chapter 164 Blue Moon Bracelet. This elderly Zhou family patriarch seemed to have seen the powerful strength behind Zhou Daocheng and the bright future of the Zhou family. So, while sending the Ningling pill, he also brought another more precious item, the second-level magic weapon Blue Moon Bracelet. Now the Zhou family has only 3 second-level magic weapons that can be used for combat: Blue Moon Bracelet, Giant Ridge Bow, and Soul Calming Bell. If you have to say something else, there is also a second-level Jade Spirit Box, but this magic weapon is mainly used to store treasures and cannot be considered a combat magic weapon. So when Zhou Daocheng saw the Blue Moon Bracelet, he was also quite surprised. He didn't expect the patriarch to be so generous and directly gave himself a second-level magic weapon. But he didn't refuse it. The environment he faced now was too dangerous, and it was also a good thing to have a second-level magic weapon for self-defense. In the end, Zhou Daocheng chose to contact the Spirit Snake sect in order to further increase the gimmick of the finale auction. For this old friend, Zhou Daocheng has always been very entangled in his heart. As far as the previous cooperation is concerned, Zhou Daocheng is still very confident in the Spirit Snake sect. Whether it is the elders and deacons within the sect or the leader of the Spirit Snake sect, none of them are cunning people. Especially the leader of the Spirit Snake sect. Not only did he not oppress the junior, but he even provided convenience many times and brought a lot of help. Through several interactions, Zhou Daocheng could clearly feel that the leader of the Spirit Snake sect was not very old, and his personality was generous and free and easy, and he was a person worth making friends with. So after thinking for a long time, Zhou Daocheng still chose to pull the Spirit Snake sect into his plan. He contacted several elders of the Spirit Snake sect and had a meeting at the water-resistant mine, and had in-depth exchanges, and finally reached a very good result. And spirit insect swallowing spirit and also became one of the finale auction items of this auction. When all this was done, several months had actually passed. All matters of the miniature market were almost ready. Through the information sent to him by Meng Yushan, he also roughly understood that the market in the Fog Valley had been established. Especially in the First Valley, the streets, shops, auction venues have all been built under the responsibility of Wei Hanshan. The originally barren and barren mountains are now lined with exquisite, officially becoming a unique market. At shops the same time, a large number of casual cultivators have gathered around the Fog Valley market. When they saw the vast Fog Valley mountains and felt the extremely rich second-level spiritual energy around them, they couldn't help but marvel. Originally, they thought that the miniature market built by casual cultivators must be small and not up to the standard, but now that they have seen it with their own eyes, they know how big the hand is, and at the same time they are extremely shocked. When did such a big man appear among the casual cultivators, and he could actually build a huge market? Many people tried to enter the Fog Valley, but unfortunately, the market has not been officially opened yet, and the thick fog has always shrouded the surroundings, making all casual cultivators unable to get close. How could an ordinary casual cultivator be able to break the second-level superior natural fog array? There were foundation-building casual cultivators near the Fog Valley, trying to sneak into the Fog Valley from the dark. The final result also stunned everyone. The foundation-building casual cultivator was lost in the clouds and mist, and finally Wei Hanshan took action to bring him out of the formation. At this time, everyone discovered that under the seemingly ordinary clouds and mist in the Fog Valley, There seemed to be an extremely terrifying formation hidden, killing people invisibly and blocking everyone from approaching. In the end, the foundation building casual cultivator also took the initiative to respond. This formation is of extremely high quality and covers a wide area. He just got slightly closer and completely lost his way. If no one brought him out, he would definitely be trapped to death in it. Even the foundation building strongman said so, so other casual cultivators naturally did not dare to underestimate it. In their curiosity about the Fog Valley market, there was a little more awe and fear. Later, although there were still casual cultivators who did not believe in evil and tried to break into the formation, they all returned in vain. And Wei Hanshan also showed the demeanor of a strong man. He did not hurt any casual cultivator, but sent them all out. Yuanzong and the monk surnamed Liu also suggested that all those who broke into the Fog Valley should be killed, to serve as a warning to others and establish prestige. But Wei Hanshan sternly refused, because he knew deeply that what Fog Valley needed now was mystery, deterrence, credibility, and a majestic and tolerant spirit, and not just decisive killing. As an experienced old man, he deeply understood that the real decisive killing had not yet begun, and the real deterrence did not rely solely on killing a few small casual cultivators. If this was really done, it would instead ruin the reputation of Fog Valley. After learning about this, Zhou Daocheng nodded deeply, secretly thinking that this person was very wise, and with this old man watching in Fog Valley, he could indeed rest assured. When the auction was approaching, Wei Hanshan also proposed an idea to Zhou Daocheng, to win over some powerful casual cultivators and enhance the strength of Fog Valley. The method was also very simple, that is, to sell some spiritual fields and caves, so as to win over some casual cultivators. The spiritual fields and caves in the second valley are very expensive and definitely not affordable for ordinary casual cultivators. And according to Zhou Daocheng's plan, these spiritual fields and caves will not be sold directly, but will be rented out. However, Wei Hanshan suggested that most of them can still be rented out, but a part of them can also be sold to attract some powerful people. Once they take root here and live in Wugu all year round, they will inevitably have a sense of belonging. If Wugu encounters danger in the future, they are also potential helpers. Moreover, in the future management of Wugu, they can also seek their help and jointly serve as the management to be responsible for the development of Wugu. Zhou Daocheng only thought about this suggestion for a few minutes, and then he keenly perceived the deep meaning and agreed with Wei Hanshan's idea. Selling the spiritual fields and caves in advance will not cause much loss to Wugu, but for these casual cultivators, it is indeed a huge benefit. Not only will they not refuse, but they will also be grateful to Wugu. Moreover, these casual cultivators must be a powerful force, enough to enrich the foundation of Wugu. The first batch of wooing and screening also began under the personal control of Wei Hanshan. There are actually very strict standards for the selection of personnel. First of all, in terms of strength, only casual cultivators with strength above the 9th level of qi refining are within the scope of being wooed. If there are foundation building masters, it would be even more desirable. Secondly, there are also strict restrictions on character. Those who do evil and have a vicious temperament will be excluded first. Even some completely unfamiliar and never seen qi refining level 9 casual cultivators will not be recruited. Chapter 165, Winning over the independent cultivators. This work took more than a month, and finally Wei Hanshan successfully won over 5 qi refining level 9 loose cultivators. This made the number of qi refining level 9 loose cultivators in Wugu jump to 12, which was much more than the number of qi refining level 9 in the heyday of the Zhou family. This also greatly improved the strength of the entire Wugu. It laid a solid foundation for the opening of the Wugu market and the auction. When the half-year period was about to come, Zhou Daocheng also chose to return to Wugu and began to fully control the overall situation. At the same time, after half a year of fermentation, the number of loose cultivators around Wugu, as well as the number of cultivators from various families and sects, increased a lot. Many of these cultivators came from other places, and a large part of the reason was because of the battle between King Shan sect and Lingding sect. The war between the two major Purple Mansion forces not only showed no signs of ending, but intensified, and the battle between Purple Mansion strongmen had begun to appear. Large spirit boat of King Shan sect has been stationed at the western border for a long time, always ready to deal with the sneak attacks of Lingding sect. The battlefield of the foundation building masters is like a huge meat grinder, which is constantly devouring the number of foundation building masters. Not to mention the masters in the early and middle stages of foundation building. Even the top masters at the peak of foundation building have suffered losses in this war. The spirit veins that the two major Purple Palace forces have fought for have finally revealed their quality. This is a third-grade high-quality spirit stone vein, and it also extends 3 first-grade high-quality and 5 first-grade medium-quality spirit veins. Its value is not small. It is precisely because of such great interests that both sides are unwilling to give in, and because of the continuous accumulation of hatred during the battle. They have already fought a real fire. Many foundation building masters died in the war, and the inheritance of their forces was cut off. They were subsequently targeted by hostile forces and suffered heavy losses. Under such circumstances, the number of independent cultivators increased sharply, and the impoverished families began to flee in all directions, and the eastern border was a good choice. Therefore, in the past 6 months, the number of cultivators around Beifang City has increased significantly, and it has also become much more lively. For this reason, the number of people around Wugu has also been increasing, and because it is closer to the East Great Wilderness Vein, there are more natural treasures and more treasures, which attracts more powerful cultivators. During Zhou Daocheng's journey to Wugu, he met many fellow cultivators, some of whom were independent cultivators, as well as family and sect forces. Some were upright cultivators, and some were evil cultivators who killed people without blinking an eye and tried to kill people for treasures. When he was only 1 day away from Wugu, Zhou Daocheng accidentally encountered the situation of evil cultivators killing people for treasures. 7 or 8 evil cultivators wearing black clothes and ghost masks surrounded a small family team. The air was filled with the smell of blood, and an old man had already fallen in a pool of blood. His pupils widened with fear, but his vitality had gradually faded. A young man in the team stuffed a pill into the old man's mouth while shouting in grief and anger, "Grandpa, Grandpa, hold on. We will kill these evil cultivators immediately to avenge you." The other family members stood back to back, their eyes full of anger and fear, especially the young boys and girls. They are all young descendants of the family. Where have they seen such a scene? They were frightened to the point of turning pale, and their hands holding the knife were shaking slightly. Hee, revenge, kid, you better wait to die. The evil cultivator in black had a fierce look in his eyes, and a powerful aura was fluctuating around him, and the white bone-long knife in his hand was stained with blood. Another person licked his lips and smiled lewdly. "Tsk tsk tsk, another team from a small family. I like it the most." "That's right, the little girls in the family are so tender. They cry for their parents when they play, much more exciting than the girls in the brothel." Hee, I like little girls with strong tempers. The more stubborn the better. HMPH, the leader said coldly, "Don't think about girls all day, get rid of them as soon as possible, so as to avoid more troubles." As he said, the magic weapon in his hand emitted a black light, and a thick black gas rose, spreading towards the family team. Another evil cultivator in black said impatiently, "I know, boss, you can't even move when you see a handsome boy, so don't talk about us. Stop talking nonsense, kill all the old guys, and leave the young ones to take away." The conflict was about to break out, and the two sides immediately fought in a group. After just a few rounds, the middle-aged man in the family team showed a look of horror. Not only was he beaten back repeatedly, but even his magic weapon was directly chopped off. Even if he tried his best to resist, he was still in an absolute disadvantage. There were only a dozen people in the family team, and most of they were the younger generation of the family, and most of them were only in the early and middle stages of chi refining. The strongest ones were just a few middle-aged people, barely reaching the 7th and 8th levels of chi refining, but they were far behind the black-clothed evil cultivators. All 8 evil cultivators reached the 8th level of chi refining, and the leader was a 9th level Qi refining strongman with very good strength. After just a few encounters, he chopped down another middle-aged man to the ground. The black-clothed evil cultivator showed no mercy. The white bone knife went up along the sternum, and with a shrill scream, the entire right hand was chopped off with one knife. Ah! Ah, father! The green-clothed female attacker surrounded in the middle suddenly changed color and rushed to the middle-aged man on the ground. He, this little girl is really pretty. Just play with her, guys. Don't damage her. If we sell her to Luan Minju, she can be worth a lot of spirit stones. The lewd evil laugh echoed in the jungle, forming a sharp contrast with the desperate and fearful faces. Zhou Daocheng frowned as he watched this scene. He didn't expect that the evil cultivators would be so rampant now, besieging and killing the family cultivators in broad daylight. This is the bad influence brought by war, which increases the number of evil cultivators and endangers the peace of the cultivation world. But Zhou Daocheng was not interested in this kind of thing. After all, the world is bustling and everyone is seeking profit. He didn't need to deliberately cause trouble. Moreover, a 9th level Qi refining plus 7 8th level Qi refining can be regarded as a very strong force. Even if Zhou Daocheng took action, it would probably take a lot of effort. However, just as Zhou Daocheng was about to turn around and leave, he unexpectedly saw the face of a person in the crowd and couldn't help but exclaimed, "Who is this person?" Seeing the evil cultivator slashing down with a fierce and domineering aura, and about to kill the family team, suddenly a green light stabbed swiftly. In an instant, the green light passed through the heart, instantly taking away a living life, leaving only a terrifying sound of breaking through the air. "Who?" The evil cultivator of the 9th level of Qi training shouted in fear, and hurriedly looked around. But there was no response. The green light did not hesitate at all, and pierced through the chests of several 8th level Qi training cultivators at a speed that was almost invisible to the naked eye, and a stronger smell of blood filled the air. Chapter 166 Third and Zhushulin. It wasn't until the 9th level Qi refining expert gritted his teeth and tried to block an attack that King Mang stopped. I saw a green bamboo sword floating in the air, with a lavender halo, like a finely crafted magic weapon. "May I ask who the senior is? If you have offended me, I will apologize here." The evil cultivator at the 9th level of Qi refining hurriedly shouted. Even if he blocked a blow, he still did not dare to relax. Because just a moment of collision made him feel the crisis of death. He clearly knew that his opponent's strength was definitely superior to him. But a few seconds after he finished speaking, there was still no one responding to him. Only a faint sound suddenly coming from the grass on one side. When the evil cultivator at the 9th level of Qi refining looked over, he saw an even more horrifying scene. I saw 2 more green flying swords flying out of the grass quickly. Their terrifying power was no worse than the first one. What? Naturally, the evil cultivator at the 9th level of Qi refining did not dare to fight head-on. He could not resist just one flying sword, let alone 3 of them. But when he raised his feet and tried to avoid the flying sword, he was horrified to find that he couldn't move at all. I don't know when the soil under my feet turned into yellow sand, locking my legs tightly and still swallowing them. What is this? Before the evil cultivator could react, 3 green long swords attacked at the same time. In an instant, from 3 different angles, it penetrated into the 3 fatal weak points of the heart, back of the head, and throat, without giving the evil cultivator any chance to react. It wasn't until this 9th level Qi refining evil cultivator fell down in a daze that the other 8 level Qi refining evil cultivators tried to escape. But now that he had taken action, how could Zhou Daocheng let them go so easily? He just glanced at them indifferently and took away their lives. After the scene became calm, Zhou Daocheng slowly walked out of the jungle and put away the purple Qi jingling sword formation. At this moment, a thought suddenly appeared in his mind. It seemed that it would not be very difficult to kill a 9th level Qi refining monk, plus 8 8th level Qi refining monks. The power of the purple Qi jade spirit sword formation was also stronger than he imagined. The main reason should be due to the innate purple energy, which not only makes the power of Bai Lingzu more powerful, but also allows Zhou Daocheng to command it like an arm. The ordinary jade spirit sword formation should not be so flexible and can only carry out surprise attacks in a straight line, mainly because of the innate purple energy. Today's purple energy jade spirit sword is completely controlled by the mind, almost equivalent to a sword cultivator's flying sword, which can kill enemies thousands of miles away. The rescued casual cultivator family was also stunned in place at this time, looking at the mysterious man wearing a purple robe and a bronze mask in front of them, and they did not come back to their senses for a long time. The scene just happened so suddenly. In just a few breaths, all the casual cultivators were slaughtered. There was not even time for them to be shocked. Turning to look at the dull group of people, Zhou Daocheng didn't pay much attention, but focused on one of the women in her early 30s. Zhou Daocheng recognized the person's identity after a brief confirmation. This person is the Shao generation of the Zhou family. Zhou Shulin can also be regarded as Zhou Daocheng's third aunt. She fell in love with a monk from a small family in her early years and eventually married him. Zhou Daocheng did not take the initiative to reveal his identity, but asked, "What family are you from? Why are you here?" If he remembered correctly, the family that the third aunt married into should have the surname Zhou and was located to the west of the Qingshan sect area. Among the few people, the remaining middle-aged man took the initiative and said, "Thank you, senior, for the rescue. I am deeply grateful. We are a small qi refining family. Because we are close to the western border of the Qingshan sect, we were attacked by the forces of the Lingding sect. The family suffered heavy losses, and we were the only ones left. We fled all the way here to avoid the war." "Then why have you come here all the time? Logically speaking, shouldn't you settle in Beifang City?" The man sighed and said, "After we arrived, we discovered that Beifang City was also in chaos and could not afford to buy shops to survive, so we thought about becoming a casual cultivator and going to the new-built Wuyifang City to try our luck." Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows and said, "I can't afford a shop in Beifang City. Are the shops in Wuyifang City very cheap?" "That's not true." The middle-aged man smiled bitterly and said, "I heard that Wugu sells a cave-type formation. It is not expensive and can be used as a training cave. If we can buy one, our family will have a place to settle down." Zhou Daocheng was a little surprised. He didn't expect the cave formation to be so famous. However, this was in line with his original expectations. With the help of this special formation, he could attract more people and completely establish the reputation of Wuyifang City. The middle-aged man sighed, and then said, "But now it seems that a large number of monks come to Wuyifang City, and it is very difficult to buy a set of formations. If you really can't buy a cave-type formation, you can only I can find a place to live in the nearby mountains." Zhou Daocheng nodded slightly. "This is the fate of a rundown family. There is no spiritual vein, no cultivation cave, no spiritual stone, and the situation is not much better than that of casual cultivators." After thinking for a while, Zhou Daocheng took out a jade pendant and handed it to them, saying, "Take it to Wuyifang City. For my sake, they should sell you a set of formations." Looking at the jade pendant in front of me, the Zhou family was stunned in place. I felt like I was dreaming. Being rescued suddenly and receiving such help for no reason made them extremely confused. Zhou Daocheng didn't say much. After throwing the jade pendant to them, he turned around and left. At this time, the young woman in her early 20s suddenly said, "Senior, my Zhou family will definitely repay such a great favor. May I ask who you are and how we can find you?" Zhou Daocheng just glanced at her and said, "No need to look for me. As for why I help you, it's just for the face of the Zhou family." As he said, he glanced at the third aunt Zhou Shulin. He didn't have a very deep impression of this third aunt, but after all, blood is thicker than water. The Zhou family suffered such a disaster, so it was right to help them. What's more, if the Zhou family really settled in Wugu, they might have contact with the Zhou family in the future. Zhou Shulin widened his eyes and asked in confusion, "Senior, do you know anyone from the Zhou family in Tanchai Mountain?" Zhou Shulin widened his eyes and asked in confusion, "Senior, do you know anyone from the Zhou family in Tanchai Mountain?" Daocheng nodded lightly and said calmly, "I have met the old man Zhu Qingyi several times. We do have some friendship, And there are also several good juniors in the Zhou family with the surname Dao. Hearing this, Zhou Shulin couldn't help showing a surprised expression. Senior, what you said is true. Dodge is really good, and he is proficient in refining at a young age. Zhou Daocheng's eyes twitched, but he still reminded slightly, does the fat boy Dodge really work? But there are also several younger generations in the Zhou family who are also pretty good. Indeed, Daobai is also very talented, and he is humble and hard-working. Zhou Daocheng. Suddenly, Zhou Daocheng felt that his mood was not so good, and he even wanted to take the jade pendant back directly. Chapter 167 Changes in Wu Yifang City. Too lazy to continue talking nonsense with his third aunt, Zhou Daocheng left directly after a perfunctory 2 words. Only Zhou Shulin and the Zhou family were left with a confused look. The green-clothed woman asked with some doubt, why do I feel that the senior is in a bad mood? I don't know. Did we say something wrong? Maybe he has a bad temper. The middle-aged man interrupted everyone and said seriously, don't gossip behind people's backs, or go to the Fog Valley as soon as possible. It is really a blessing for my Zhou family to meet the senior this time. Remember not to forget it in the future. If there is a chance, you must repay it tenfold. When Zhou Daocheng returned to the Fog Valley, it was still shrouded in thick fog, mysterious and shocking. When he came to the first valley, the scene in front of him shocked Zhou Daocheng greatly. In the valley of dozens of acres, a large number of buildings have been built. From a distance, they are lined up one after another, which is no worse than Beifang City. In particular, the buildings in the core area are extremely magnificent, with more than 10 stories high, and exquisite patterns all over the building, which are extremely luxurious and exquisite. The ordinary shops entering and leaving have also planned their own areas, neatly arranged on both sides of the road, filling the entire valley. Looking down at the ground, the original soil has been paved with a thick layer of bluestone floor, which is very flat and stable to step on. In just half a year, this place has been transformed from a barren ordinary valley to the exquisite and atmospheric Wugu market. Originally, Zhou Daocheng planned to build only a miniature market, but now it seems that the area is no smaller than Bay Market. Even if the second valley is added, the overall area has exceeded Bay Market, fully reaching the standard of a small market. Moreover, whether it is safety, the richness of spiritual energy, or the richness of surrounding resources, it is much better than Bay Market. After taking a general look around, Zhou Daocheng nodded with satisfaction, feeling very emotional. Building buildings in the market is not an easy task. It requires understanding the layout of the market and making precise plans and distribution according to the environment of the Fog Valley. For ordinary casual cultivators, these are very difficult tasks, but fortunately Wei Hanshan is not an ordinary casual cultivator, but an extremely experienced cultivator. So these tasks were given to him and all got almost perfect results. After Zhou Daocheng walked around, he went directly to the second valley. Normally, the first valley is only used to rent shops and conduct transactions. The second valley is the core of the high-level people in the Fog Valley, because only powerful cultivators with strong strength and a certain status can afford to buy spiritual fields and caves in the second valley. In addition, the founders of the market like Wei Hanshan will also get spiritual fields and caves for free in the second valley. All those who can stay here are either rich or noble. When Zhou Daocheng arrived, there were already many people in the second valley. Because it was close to the opening of the market, Yuanzong, Zizhou and others had already returned. At the same time, there are 5 other Qi refining level 9 casual cultivators recruited later, so there are a total of more than a dozen people here. Zhou Daocheng walked in slowly, and the combination of purple robes and bronze masks immediately attracted everyone's attention. Several unfamiliar faces all showed vigilant expressions, until Wei Hanshan came forward and saluted respectfully. The others reacted. The 5 unfamiliar casual cultivators all looked at Zhou Daocheng curiously, and were quite shocked. If they guessed correctly, the person in front of them was the real founder of Wugu, an extremely powerful formation master. Such a person, whether in status, strength, or identity, is far above these Qi refining level 9 casual cultivators. Therefore, The group still saluted respectfully and called him Senior. Zhou Daocheng just slightly looked at Wei Hanshan, and asked, "Old Wei, how is the situation in the market?" Wei Hanshan said respectfully, reporting to the senior, "Everything that should be prepared has been prepared. As long as the matters of the auction is prepared, the market can be opened directly." Zhou Daocheng nodded. Wei Hanshan was only responsible for the construction of the market building, and he was fully responsible for the auction. After thinking for a moment, Zhou Daocheng said, "Old Wei, notify them. The market will officially open in 7 days, and the auction will also be held on that day." Old Wei was stunned. He didn't expect Zhou Daocheng to act so quickly and plan to open the market directly. Somewhat worriedly asked, "Senior, do we need to do more preparations? For example, continue to recruit a group of independent cultivators. If we can have a foundation-building independent cultivator join us, our safety in the future will be greatly guaranteed." Zhou Daocheng shook his head and said indifferently, "Everyone who should come has come. It's not that we can recruit foundation-building strongmen by continuing to recruit." Hearing this, Old Wei also nodded slightly. He actually understood that although Wugu seemed to be thriving, it could collapse at any time, so the strong foundation builders would never join easily. The various forces in Beifang City were watching here, ready to deliver a fatal blow at any time to completely eliminate this competitor. If Wugu could not withstand the pressure of Beifang City, it would inevitably collapse and be eaten up by the wolves. It was even very likely that on the day when Wugufang City opened, it would be directly invaded by Beifang City, and the foundation building war would break out, causing Wugufang City to change its owner. These are all potential dangers. Before everything is settled, most of the strong are in a wait-and-see state and will not choose to settle in the Fog Valley market immediately, and the auction is the most important opportunity. Many people will not let the auction go smoothly, nor will they let the Fog Valley market open smoothly. But even so, Zhou Daocheng is unwilling to wait any longer. What is coming will come eventually, and you can't escape it even if you want to. It is better to face all challenges head-on. Old Wei, go and make arrangements directly. Leave the things outside the Fog Valley to me, and you will be responsible for the things inside the Fog Valley. Wei Hanshan nodded carefully. Okay, since the senior has made a decision, then Wei will naturally go all out. After speaking, Zhou Daocheng nodded, turned around and left calmly, and walked slowly towards the third valley, until the figure completely disappeared in the mist. The depressing atmosphere was relieved. Several newly joined Qi refining level 9 casual cultivators stepped forward with lingering fear and asked, "Old Wei, is this the senior formation master?" "Yes. If you are sincere in joining the Wugu market, the senior formation master will definitely not treat you unfairly," Wei Hanshan said indifferently. "Of course, Old Wei, are you still worried about our character? But I have a question. Aren't there only 2 valleys here? Where did the senior formation master go just now?" Chapter 168. The illiterate red snake. Wei Hanshan glanced at him indifferently. "Don't ask if you shouldn't ask. This is a formation controlled by the senior formation master. How can you know it?" Zhou Daocheng stepped into the third valley. This place is completely isolated from the world, shrouded in layers of fog of formations. It seems to be right next to the first and second valleys, but in fact, ordinary monks cannot get close to it at all. Zhou Daocheng walked slowly into it, stepped closer to the cave of the woman with the red snake tattoo, and said in a respectful voice, "Senior Red Snake, can I see you if you have time? Come in." A slightly lazy voice sounded. A few seconds later, Zhou Daocheng appeared in the cave. The woman with the red snake tattoo does not wear the iconic black tight-fitting outfit. Instead, she wears a loose and lazy bright red robe, with a full head of blue hair draped down, covering her fair skin. The smart little red snake is on the hair is faintly visible. "Boy, why did you come to see me this time?" Zhou Daocheng looked calmly and said, "The auction will start in 7 days. There are many snakes, horses and cows around, so seniors may need to worry more." The woman with the red snake tattoo remained calm. Under her extremely seductive appearance, her cold eyes were as cold as the cold wind. "There is no need to worry too much. Beifang City will send at most 1 or 2 foundation building experts. With the help of your formation, We can deal with them. Zhou Daocheng shook his head and said, "This is what I'm worried about. Even if the other party comes to attack, Senior, you can't kill them. You just need to expel them." Zhou Daocheng also had a brief understanding of the strength of the woman with the red snake tattoo. She was at the top of the casual cultivator and would most likely reach the peak of the 3rd level of foundation building. If she borrows part of the power of the double snake tattoo, her actual combat power will only be stronger. She should not be her opponent in the early stage of ordinary foundation building. "Why, don't you kill me? I'll save it and chop you later," the woman with the red snake tattoo said coldly. Zhou Daocheng was used to the other party's way of speaking, so he didn't pay too much attention to it, but explained, "Now that the King Shan sect is involved in a war, it would not be a wise move to kill the foundation building monks under his command at this time." Red Snake was stunned when he heard this, and after thinking about it carefully, he did not refute. Because this is indeed the case. If they really take action to kill the strong foundation builder, then the other party only needs to file a lawsuit against the King Shan sect, and rely on the reason of disrupting the war and assassinating the strong foundation builder of the Shanghai sect, which is enough to make Wu Yifeng City fall into the abyss. "Then, what are you going to do?" Zhou Daocheng raised his eyes and said, "Senior, don't take action unless it is absolutely necessary. We can use the formation as the foundation and deal with the opponent." The woman with the red snake tattoo raised her eyebrows and questioned, "Just deal with it? You don't think you can make the other party stop using such gentle means, do you?" Zhou Daocheng showed a soft smile and said like a spring breeze, "Peace is the most important thing in everything, and it doesn't have to be about killing." The woman with the red snake tattoo rubbed her head and said nonchalantly, "Forget it. I don't want to take care of this matter. Just take charge of it." "Okay. Thank you very much, Senior Red Snake." After saying that, Zhou Daocheng was about to leave the cave, but was called down again. "Wait a moment. What else can Senior Red Snake do?" Zhou Daocheng asked with some confusion. The woman with the red snake tattoo said, "Boy, I need to trouble you with one more thing." "Explain." "Do you still have the soup and bath medicine packets from last time? Give me a few more packets, preferably of higher quality." Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows. "No, but I have the formula. Do you want it?" "Give me." Zhou Daocheng casually handed over the jingling medicinal bath formula. This is a 2nd-grade low-grade medicine package formula. It is of higher quality and requires more precious materials, but Zhou Daocheng has never been able to get it together. In the case of the woman with the red snake tattoo, the high-grade 1st-grade fire-scorching cloud medicinal bath would most likely not be effective enough, so it would be better to just give her a purifying medicinal bath. The woman with the red snake tattoo took it, glanced at it, and then frowned impatiently and cursed, "What the hell are these talismans?" Zhou Daocheng twitched the corner of his mouth and looked at the other party who had taken the wrong formula. He was speechless for a moment. "Senior, you have taken the wrong formula." "Forget it, you kid. Read it to me." Zhou Daocheng blinked his eyes and asked unsteadily, "Senior, are you illiterate?" The woman with the red snake tattoo glanced coldly and said, "Is this a very rare thing? Stop talking nonsense. When I find it, I will share some with you." Zhou Daocheng was helpless for a while. He didn't expect that the woman with the red snake tattoo was such a proud person, but she was still illiterate. In desperation, he had no choice but to clearly report all the ingredients for the pure spirit medicinal bath formula. After the woman with the red snake tattoo took note of it, she turned and left. However, he did not go to other places, but opened another cave in the 3rd valley. In the future, if he wants to stay in Wu Yifeng City often, he will also practice here. The concentration of spiritual energy here is no worse than that in underground caves, and may even be higher to a certain extent. Not only the aura concentration, but other conditions here are also better. Whether it is the surrounding resources, the level of safety, or the level of convenience, it is far from being comparable to Balin Lake. In his plan, White Scale Lake will gradually serve as a secret settlement hidden behind, supplying various resources. Wu Yifeng City will be the center of the next development, and it will be the foundation for improving strength and gathering wealth. Now that he has broken through to the 9th level of Qi refining, the next step is to prepare for foundation building. The biggest obstacle is the spirit stone. Now his pockets are emptier than his face, and he can hardly take out any spiritual stones, let alone buy foundation building pills. What's more troublesome is that King Shan's sect is now deeply mired in the quagmire of war, and strategic materials such as foundation building pills have long been collected in advance and are almost no longer circulated on the market. Even if there are forces that have foundation building pills, it is absolutely impossible to take them out under such circumstances, let alone sell them. Therefore, foundation building pills have become Zhou Daocheng's biggest headache now. But he always believes that as long as he has enough spiritual stones, he will be able to buy a foundation building pill sooner or later. And the market is undoubtedly a huge source of wealth. The Fog Valley is quiet and peaceful, but there are dangers lurking in the dark. Outside the Fog Valley, on the top of a rocky mountain, two figures stand here. The powerful spiritual energy that is agitated around them repels the fog in the surrounding air, as if they are detached from the world. If someone is here, they will be surprised to sense the breath of the two people, which has completely surpassed the 9th level of Qi refining and reached a more terrifying realm. Fellow Taoist Jin, what do you think of this Wugu market? It is magnificent and mysterious, but it also hides dangers. The old man in golden clothes frowned as he looked at the magnificent and thick fog in front of him, and a trace of fear rose in his heart. Another old man with a gloomy aura around him also had fear in his pupils, muttering, "It is really hard to imagine. I thought it was just a miniature market built by a casual cultivator, but I didn't expect it to be so grand." Chapter 169. Market opens. The old man in golden clothes had a gloomy face and snorted coldly. It doesn't matter how big the deal is, the establishment of Wuyifang City has greatly affected Beifang City. If this situation is allowed to develop, I'm afraid our future income will plummet. More than 50% reduction. What do you plan to do with fellow Taoist Jin? The gloomy old man asked calmly. When the auction starts, let's test it out. It is said that the formation master who controls the formation has not reached the foundation building stage. We may still have a chance to get rid of him directly. A formation master in the Qi refining stage? How did you get this news? Of course there are channels down there. Around the Foggy Valley, in another hidden cave, there are also several monks gathered here. The leader was dressed in white, holding a white bone flag, and a gloomy and evil aura enveloped his body. Around them, there were several monks at the 9th level of Qi refining, all of whom had gloomy auras, as if they were evil cultivators. However, if there are other casual cultivators here, they will definitely recognize that the person in front of them is not an evil cultivator, but a strong foundation building casual cultivator, Pan He, known as White Bone Flag. He is also a decisive and powerful foundation building expert. The second evil magic weapon Bone Flag in his hand is an extremely evil magic weapon that swallows souls and refines bones. But although this person's methods are evil, he never kills people to seize treasures. The souls he swallows are all monster spirits, and the bones he refines are also monster bones. Moreover, this person is quite capable, so he has gathered a powerful team of casual cultivators around him. But what makes this man most famous is not his strength, but his romantic style. It has long been rumored that White Bone Flag Pan He fell in love with Flame Snake Girl at first sight. Since their first meeting, they began to pursue her fiercely. Although they were rejected many times, they never gave up. Wherever Flame Snake Lady appears, there will be Bone Flag Pan He. The almost inseparable image also made many casual cultivators who didn't know the truth of the matter automatically regard the two as Taoist lovers. The love and hatred between the two strong foundation builders has also become a hotly discussed topic among everyone. Senior Pan, I have asked someone to find out that the last place where Senior Flame Snake Lady came before disappearing was this Foggy Valley. A casual cultivator and the team said. Pan He's eyes were deep and he said calmly, "Are you sure?" 8 to 90%. After Senior Shiji appeared nearby once, she never appeared again. Then there was news that Yufang City was established here. Pan He's eyes moved slightly, his fingers habitually rubbed the bone flag in his hand, and a look of thought appeared in his eyes. Is this Wu Yifang city founded by her? If that's true, it's necessary to go and take a look. If I remember correctly, the city will officially start in the near future. 7 days flew by. Zhou Daocheng sat cross-legged in the cave, surrounded by a thick earthy aura, and his spiritual energy became a little thicker again. He slowly opened his eyes, looked outside the foggy valley, and murmured, "It's time to open the market." He took out the communication stone and sent a communication to Meng Yushan. "Get ready to open the market." In the foggy valley. When Meng Yushan saw the information in his hand, his eyes immediately lit up and he stood up suddenly. On the side, Mr. Wei opened his eyes, which were closed to meditate, and asked, "Senior, have you received any news?" "Yes, let's officially open the market." As the words fell, several people saw the fog in the sky fluctuating, seeming to be pushed away to both sides under the control of a big hand. The thick clouds and fog overhead suddenly dispersed, and bright sunlight shone down, illuminating the entire valley. At the same time, a spacious road appeared at the entrance of the first mountain pass, leading directly to the outside of the valley. The formation that isolates the inside and outside of Foggy Valley is officially opened at this moment. Zhou Daocheng just took a glance. There were almost thousands of people waiting outside Foggy Valley, more than he imagined. The location of Wu Yifang city is very remote, and it is more than 10 days away from the nearest Beifang city. Moreover, the publicity of Wu Yifang city is only in the area of Beifang city. Even if the number of people is large, it will not be much. But the actual situation was better than Zhou Daocheng expected. Affected by the war, many small families were destroyed. In order to continue the family inheritance, most of them chose to move to sparsely populated border areas, similar to the Zhou family where the third Aunt Zhou Shulin lived. Wu Yifang city, located on the border of the eastern Great Wilderness, is obviously a very good choice. Zhou Daocheng is still very happy to accept these people. After all, they are exiles. They can't even satisfy their own food and clothing. How can they think of making trouble? What they need is just a place to live, a place to settle down and pass on to future generations. Such needs are undoubtedly more pure and more reassuring. The newly established Wu Yifang city was originally designed to attract such people. It is best to live here for a long time and develop it for a long time. Although they are just a small family and a small force now, as time goes by, they will eventually become stronger and fully integrate into Wu Yifang city, bringing vitality to this city. However, Zhou Daocheng withdrew his gaze after not looking at it for too long. Wei Hanshan and Meng Yushan were responsible for the situation in Fangxi, so he didn't need to worry too much. Moreover, he also has other things to take responsibility for. Slowly raising his head, he frowned and looked outside the foggy valley. It seemed that his powerful perception could see the situation beyond the foggy valley mountains through the layers of clouds and mist. Although it was only a very subtle breath, he did feel that a foundation building expert had appeared and was close to the range of the formation. "Humphrey, I didn't expect you to be so impatient. You came just after the market opened. You didn't take me seriously at all." Zhou Daocheng restrained his breath, stood up and walked out of the cave, his figure immersed in the thick clouds. When he came to a mountain top, he saw a red figure standing there in advance. Zhou Daocheng was not surprised. What he could feel, naturally, could not be hidden from the red snake tattoo woman. "How can you sense a few foundation building experts?" Feeling the people behind her, the red snake tattoo woman asked calmly. Zhou Daocheng said lightly, "Currently, I can sense two, and their strength is not weak." "Then how do you plan to deal with them? Or talk to them and let them give you a little face?" The red snake tattoo woman joked unexpectedly. Zhou Daocheng stood with his hands behind his back, raised his eyebrows, and said, "Although I am an upright and kind person, I am not really stupid." "Oh, then I really didn't see that." Ignoring the teasing of the woman with the red snake tattoo, Zhou Daocheng walked away and said, "Let's see the situation first. If the other party has no ill intentions, it's fine to expel him. However, those who dare to come today must have malicious intentions." If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, It means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 170 Earth Yin Compass. In this formation, he had absolute confidence. Even if a foundation building expert came, he still had room to maneuver. As he came to the periphery of the formation, dozens of figures appeared in front of him. It can be roughly seen that this should come from two forces. One of them was wearing clothes with golden jade bottle patterns, and the other had a gloomy aura and was surrounded by a strong yin aura. Is this Jin sect and Disu sect? Zhou Daocheng muttered to himself. He had a deep understanding of the several forces in Beifang City and recognized their identities at a glance. This is also the only two forces among the 5 major forces in Beifang City that have 2 foundation building experts. Zhou Daocheng couldn't help but chuckled and said, "It seems that they are determined. They sent 2 foundation building experts for the first time. Are they planning to strangle us in the cradle directly?" The woman with the red snake tattoo looked at the scene with a solemn expression. The 2 foundation building cultivators in front of them all have reached the 3rd level of foundation building, and their auras are steady and heavy. They are both powerful people. In addition to these 2 foundation building masters, they also brought a group of chi refining subordinates, all of whom were very strong, at least with the strength of the 8th level of chi refining, and even a few with the 9th level of chi refining. This also made Zhou Daocheng feel strange. The other party should not know their specific strength, so why did they break in so confidently? Do they firmly believe that the strength of the Wugu market must be weaker than theirs? Although there were many doubts in his heart, it was too late for him to think too much at this point, and he had to deal with the situation as soon as possible. Otherwise, if they really broke into the Wugu and disrupted the first opening of the market, it would be a loss of face. While thinking, Zhou Daocheng pinched the magic formula in his hand and began to control the changes in the formation, trying to block the teams of the Jin sect and the Disu sect outside the formation. At the first moment of the formation change, the 2 foundation building elders noticed the abnormality and looked up at the sky keenly. "It seems that the formation master has discovered us. We must be careful next time," the old man of the Jin sect reminded. The old man of the Disu sect snorted coldly and said, "A mere chi refining stage kid. Do you really think you can stop us? Look, I'll break his formation." As he spoke, the old man took out something from his storage bag. It was a wheel magic weapon, surrounded by a thick yin chi. As soon as he took it out, the surrounding area was instantly filled with yin chi. 2nd level, mid-grade magic weapon, the yin compass? The old man of the Jin sect was surprised. "This is your Disu sect's treasure. You didn't take it out last time you hunted a 2nd level monster. How can you bear to use it this time?" Disu sect looked gloomy and said sinisterly, "There are so many 2nd level monsters. Even if the hunting fails, it doesn't matter, but the market is related to the development of the sect. Once this market is allowed to develop, it will be troublesome." As he spoke, the old man placed the wheel on the ground, and suddenly a yin chi covered all directions. The yin chi was extremely heavy and was not affected by the surrounding terrain at all. It directly penetrated the fog and the mountain and began to spread rapidly. Zhou Daocheng sensed it quickly, and his pupils couldn't help shrinking slightly. He could clearly feel that this yin chi was like a maggot attached to the bone, sticking to the formation. It could not be completely eliminated by relying on the power of the formation alone. The woman with the red snake tattoo saw this scene and couldn't help but frown and remind her, "This is the Earth Yin Wheel, a 2nd level magic weapon, which can use yin chi to explore the surrounding environment. Can you solve it?" "It's a bit troublesome. Just restrain the maze." Zhou Daocheng's eyes were low and he replied bluntly. The woman with the red snake tattoo looked at him in surprise and questioned, "You can't do it now? Is it a bit too fast?" Zhou Daocheng's mouth twitched, and his head was full of black lines. "Senior Red Snake, are you underestimating a formation master too much? I haven't made a move yet." "Oh, I didn't underestimate you. The other party came prepared and has a magic weapon specifically for restraining the maze. It seems that you are in trouble." The woman with the red snake tattoo stood with her hands folded and said lightly. Zhou Daocheng did not say much. He also felt great pressure. The spells in his hands kept changing. The heavy Wu Earth spiritual chi flowed in the formation, constantly controlling the changes. For a time, the natural mist formation fluctuated continuously, as if a strong wind swept through, and the clouds in the sky kept rolling. The purple robe whistled in the wind, and it remained motionless despite the strong wind. In the formation, the old man of the Dazhou sect obviously noticed that the strength of the formation was increasing, but he was not panicked at all, and his eyes were still calm. With both hands pressed on the ground, he used the yin qi of the roulette wheel to constantly sense the surrounding terrain. No matter how the fog changed, he could see the most real appearance and would not be misled by the maze at all. Zhou Daocheng created traps one after another, trying to make them stay outside the formation and circle, but they were all seen through by the other party and had little effect. Led by the old man of the Dazhou sect, the two teams did not hesitate at all, crossed layer after layer of fog, and continued to go deeper into the valley. Zhou Daocheng also completely stopped smiling. His expression became extremely serious, and sweat broke out on his forehead. On the side, the woman with the red snake tattoo also frowned, showing signs of attacking. "Boy, can you do it?" The other party just made a slight move and emptied you directly. Zhou Daocheng ignored it and devoted himself to the control of the formation. The power of the second level magic weapon did bring him great pressure, and ordinary means were completely ineffective. I watched as the two teams, led by the old man of the Dazhou sect, continued to go deeper into the fog valley, crossing the complex mountains on the periphery, and were about to enter the three valleys in the core. The woman with the red snake tattoo had almost no hope. Her brows were tightly furrowed, as if she was considering how to deal with the problem in front of her. The old man of the Dazhou sect also showed a happy expression on his face. "Haha, Junior, you are still a little naive. You think you can stop us with the level of a mere chi refining array master." The old man of the Jin sect also smiled and stroked his beard indifferently. "I thought the other party had so many powerful means. It seems that it is still a lot worse than you, fellow Taoist. The other party is still too young. After all, he is still a little immature, but he still has some means, and he can save his life for a while. After all, array masters are rare," the old man of the Dazhou sect said coldly without any modesty. "That's natural. Subduing an array master? Wow, wow, this harvest is not small. Get ready to take action, at most through one or two more clouds and mists. It's almost time to reach the core valley." The old man of the Dazhou sect spoke confidently, and once again led the team through a layer of fog, and from an unexpected angle, went deep into the valley again. However, this time, there was no cloud or fog ahead, but a thick rock wall blocked the way. When the old man from Jin sect saw this, he narrowed his eyes and asked in confusion, "What's going on? Why is there no road ahead?" Chapter 171 The Real Maze. The old man from the Dazhou sect also showed a puzzled expression. "What's going on? Logically, there should be a road here." Just as the two were puzzled, a 9th level chi refining cultivator behind them suddenly said, "Look, two seniors." There seemed to be words on the stone wall in front. "Hey, there are really words." The old man from the Jin sect took a step forward, looked carefully, and indeed saw a line of small fonts on the stone wall. "Stop, right here and leave the mist valley, or you will bear the consequences." After just one glance, the two foundation building elders sneered, looked up at this guy with disdain, and said coldly, "Junior, you want us to leave with such a mediocre method? You are dreaming. I am not afraid of being scared when I walk in the world of immortal cultivation. If I am persuaded to retreat by a few words from you, where will the face of the leader of the Jin sect be?" The old man of the Dazhou sect chuckled and said, "Fellow Taoist Jin, there is no need to say more. There is a valley behind the stone wall. Just break his formation directly. That's exactly what I want. I want to see how shocked this naive junior is when he sees us. Ha ha ha." The wanton laughter echoed in the valley, shaking the clouds and mist slightly. The woman with the red snake tattoo stood on the top of the mountain, looked coldly at Zhou Daocheng who was sweating profusely, and said disdainfully, "Your tricks are fine for fooling ordinary people, But do you really think you can fool the foundation building masters? She has seen that the two foundation building masters have already rushed all the way to the front, only a few hundred meters away from the two. As long as they cross this stone wall, there will be no more obstacles between the two sides, and the next step is to face the battle directly. At this time, the mysterious man in the purple robe and bronze mask is no longer as indifferent as before. He is already sweating profusely, his face is pale, and he is too tired to say a word. This also made her feel disappointed. She thought he was a special man, but she never thought that the two foundation building masters would force him to such a point, which really made her a little disdainful. Even in his eyes, there was a hint of alienation and coldness. Amidst the wanton and rampant laughter, the old man of the Jin sect slapped out with a palm, and the aura with a sharp breath fiercely slapped on the stone wall in front. He had seen the scene of completely occupying the Wugu market and subduing a formation master. With the violent roar, the stone wall blocking the front collapsed, and the soil and rocks flew, and a lot of dust and gravel filled the air. The wanton laughter passed through the clouds and spread to the empty sky around. At this moment, everyone's heart was tightened. Whether it was the people of Jin sect and Disu sect, or the woman with red snake tattoo who made a subtle move, they all held their breath for a moment. As long as this stone wall was broken, they could officially enter the Wugu, which also meant that the formation was broken, and Zhou Daocheng's biggest chassis was broken. Without the help of the formation, the woman with red snake tattoo had to face two foundation building masters who were as powerful as herself. Thinking of this, the woman with red snake tattoo had a faint intention of retreating, and her eyes flickered. At this time, no one noticed that the face hidden under the bronze mask was still extremely calm. Although her face was soaked with sweat and pale as paper, there was no trace of timidity or fear in her lowered eyes, only calmness and indifference. Along with the sound of earth and rocks cracking and sneers, Zhou Daocheng's indifferent voice echoed on the top of the mountain. "Senior Red Snake, you seem to have forgotten who is the real array master." The pupils of the woman with the red snake tattoo shrank slightly, and the next moment, the clouds and mist in the sky became more than twice as thick in an instant, instantly covering all the surrounding mountains and enveloping everything. The large amount of spiritual energy gathered in the periphery flowed and gathered at this moment, as if it was attracted by the array. In an instant, the expression of the woman with the red snake tattoo changed drastically. She was keenly aware that she seemed to have become an insider of the array again from an observer outside the array. The clouds and mist that were several times thicker brought her great uneasiness. Beside her, the man in the purple robe and bronze mask, who was exhausted just now, had stood up again, standing with his hands behind his back in the wind, with a confident aura surrounding him. At this moment, she seemed to have truly seen what it meant to be the master of the formation. The power of the formation was supporting him, making Zhou Daocheng's momentum at this moment no weaker than that of a foundation building expert. However, she still frowned and said, "The opponent has already walked in front of you, what other means do you have?" But before she finished speaking, her pupils suddenly shrank and widened. As the fog gradually dissipated, the situation in the surrounding mountains unexpectedly changed dramatically. Dozens of people who were less than 100 meters apart were actually transferred to various corners of the formation in an instant just now. How is this possible? The woman with the red snake tattoo muttered in disbelief, as if she couldn't believe what she saw. She clearly knew that the two foundation building experts were indeed getting closer and closer, and they did break the formation at that time. But why did the direction change so drastically in an instant? Impossible. Everything just now was real. I definitely couldn't have seen it wrong. You were mobilizing the formation. After hesitating for only a second, the woman with the red snake tattoo dispelled her self-doubt and confirmed her own thoughts. The two foundation builders in the formation and dozens of chi refining level 8 and 9 cultivators were equally shocked. In just a blink of an eye, when they opened their eyes, the surrounding environment had become completely different. Looking around, they were completely shrouded in thick fog. Everything was unfamiliar, and a strong sense of uneasiness enveloped everyone, including the two strong foundation builders. The old man of Disu sect looked at the surroundings with horror, and murmured to himself, "Impossible, Impossible. I have clearly cracked the maze. How could this happen? I quickly took out the compass and looked at the surrounding terrain again. What shocked him was that everything around him had completely changed. It's not an illusion, it's a real change. How is this possible? Could it be that this is not a maze formation, but a legendary space formation? No, absolutely impossible. Although he tried his best to deny it, at this moment, the old man of the Dsu sect in the foundation building stage still felt a trace of panic. Because the scene I just experienced was too incredible. The monks who were completely scattered in all directions were all caught in the formation and fell into panic for a while. The top of the mountain. The woman with the red snake tattoo gradually regained her composure. She stared at the man beside her and asked curiously, "How did you do it? What kind of formation is this?" Zhou Daocheng's eyes were calm. He stood with his hands behind his back and said casually, "Of course it's a maze." Impossible. How can the maze have the effect of changing the orientation of space and disrupting vision? I can be sure that whether it was what I saw before or what I see now, it is definitely a real mountain range. Why can you change it in an instant? Zhou Daocheng glanced at her lightly and asked, "Can you really see clearly? If you can see everything clearly, what do you want me, an array master, to do?" The woman with the red snake tattoo's pupils shrank, and she seemed to understand something for a moment, but she seemed to have more doubts. Zhou Daocheng said calmly, "Where does your confidence come from? Do you think that everything you see is real? Just because you are standing on the same land as me, looking at the mountains below from the same angle?" Chapter 172. How can a real maze be so simple? Could it be that it is just using the misleading of the fog to form a maze-like style to guide the monks to the wrong path? That is too naive and too superficial. It was not until Zhou Daocheng really understood this natural maze in depth that he understood the true secret of the maze. The more powerful the maze, the fewer false changes, and the more real changes. The misleading caused by the thick fog has always been the most basic maze method, because the fog only blocks people's eyes and cannot change the real world. And the real core part of this natural maze is the intricate mountains and terrain, which is the array pattern of this array and the root of all changes. On the surface, it is just a means of sleight of hand, but in fact, moving mountains and filling the sea, unpredictable, all real. But to really achieve this point, you need to have a strong control over the array, and it consumes a lot of mana. Therefore, the sweaty, pale, and weak appearance just now was not pretended, but it was indeed a huge consumption. With his current understanding and application of the formation, it is still difficult to truly control this fog array. Just a slight adjustment has exhausted all his energy, but the effect is also considerable. Just one change in the array pattern completely changed the situation in front of him, disrupting the positions of all visitors. It is not an exaggeration to say that he was saved from a desperate situation. Zhou Daocheng looked down at the figures in the formation with a hint of coldness in his eyes, and muttered to himself, "I have reminded you that so far, we can let bygones be bygones, but you don't seem to have seized the opportunity. When everyone's position is dispersed, their lives no longer belong to them." At this moment, Zhou Daocheng began to mobilize the fog in the fog valley at will, trapping everyone in it. The woman with the red snake tattoo also frowned slightly, although she thought that the strength of the array master in front of her was very good. The move just now really shocked her. Even she, a top-level strongman at the peak of the third level of foundation building, was completely fooled by this incredible method and could not see any loopholes at all. Not to mention a group of cultivators in the chi refining stage. The woman with the red snake tattoo asked calmly, "The situation is very good now. If I enter the formation and cooperate with your help, maybe I can kill them all." Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng did not show joy or excitement, but just shook his head calmly. "No need. I have said before that at this time point, you can't kill the strongman of foundation building at will, otherwise it will only cause trouble." Even though he had the intention to kill in his heart, Zhou Daocheng knew very well that now was not the time. "So are you going to let them go?" The woman with the red snake tattoo frowned and said, "Is it too cowardly to do this? Once you show any weakness, the other party will definitely take advantage of you. I'm afraid there will be more trouble later." Zhou Daocheng habitually touched his chin and said thoughtfully, "Cowardly, then change the way to send them away. so that they dare not come here easily in the future. Change the way? The woman with the red snake tattoo asked curiously. Zhou Daocheng did not answer, but began to adjust the mist in the formation, pulling the cultivators in it to the corresponding position. At this time, the two foundation building masters who were deeply trapped in the mist did not dare to act rashly. For fear that if they were not careful, the formation would change dramatically again, and it is very likely that they would be completely trapped here. It was at this time that they deeply understood the horror of this formation, and even vaguely realized that the quality of this formation was very likely to be very high, far beyond their ability to crack. Just when the two were at a loss, an unexpected situation occurred. Bang! Bang! Only two dull sounds suddenly sounded in the silent fog valley. The two foundation building masters turned their heads sharply and looked at the place where the sound came from. They saw the blood mist in the air dispersing and the strong smell of blood spreading rapidly. The pupils of the two suddenly shrank and they walked towards the nearest blood mist. When they arrived, there was only a pile of scattered pieces of meat on the ground, and the air was filled with blood-colored mist that had not completely dissipated. In the broken clothes left on the ground, the patterns of the clothes of each sect could be vaguely seen, and the identity tokens left behind let them know the identity of the dead clearly. Changchong, the old man of the Zhou sect, was so angry that his eyes were bloodshot when he saw this scene, and his aura fluctuated. But at this time, reason told him that now was not the time to take action, because just now, when his disciples were beaten into blood mist, he felt a trace of the aura of the foundation building masters, and the aura was very strong, not weaker than him at all, and even stronger. This suddenly woke him up. It seemed that there was not only one powerful array master in this fog valley, but also a powerful foundation building expert. This discovery immediately made his back cold. He could imagine that if the other party wanted to kill him and wanted to keep him completely, he could let the foundation building expert cooperate with the array to attack, and he would definitely find it difficult to resist. Suddenly, cold sweat broke out from his temples and slowly flowed down his cheeks. However, after waiting for a few minutes, he did not wait for the other party to attack, but heard a dull explosion again. Then he saw a blood mist spreading in the air not far away. The two foundation building experts looked extremely gloomy when they saw this scene, but they still walked towards the direction of the blood mist. The situation was as they expected. It was still one of their disciples who was smashed to pieces in an instant, leaving only a pile of broken flesh and clothes on the ground. This horrifying scene and the brutal means made the two foundation building masters feel terrified. Next, every few minutes, there would be a sound of flesh and blood breaking, then the two walked towards the direction of the blood mist. After repeating this several times, the two foundation building masters finally understood the other party's intentions. Their faces became more gloomy, and the fingers under their robes trembled slightly because of anger. The other party did not intend to kill them, or dared not to kill them, but they did not intend to let them go easily, but used the lives of the two disciples to lead them out of the formation. When dozens of figures were beaten into blood mist, the two foundation building masters had already walked to the periphery of the fog valley. What appeared in front of the two was still a stone wall, on which there was also a line of small characters engraved. Only 4 words, "Peace is the most precious." When the two saw it, their eyelids twitched and they were furious. They almost gritted their teeth and smashed the stone wall with one palm. Behind this stone wall, as expected by the two, was the outside of the fog valley. When had the two foundation building masters ever been humiliated like this? They turned their heads and looked at the fog in the formation, their eyes full of gloom. Chapter 173. Several waves of people. If they were to fight head-on, they would at least be invincible, and even have a high probability of gaining the upper hand. But a set of formations rubbed the two people's faces on the ground, and even sent them away in the most humiliating way, leaving them with nowhere to release their anger. The old man of the Zhou sect said coldly towards the depths of the formation, "Dao is really a good method, but Lin will remember today's revenge." The old man of the Jin sect also had an ugly face. "This matter is not over. I hope you stay in this tortoise shell for the rest of your life, otherwise don't blame me for being ruthless." However, There was no sound in the valley to respond to them. On the top of the mountain in the depths. The woman with the red snake tattoo took out a handkerchief, wiped the blood on her hand lightly, and asked, "Is this what you call peace as the most precious thing? Killing everyone and then bringing peace, this is also a kind of peace as the most precious thing." Zhou Daocheng said calmly, "But judging from their appearance, they seem quite angry and do not intend to coexist peacefully with you." Zhou Daocheng did not care. He tried to find the direction in which the two people left and said, "Let's see if they dare to come again. From now on, even if they continue to oppose the Wugu market, they will only be outside the Wugu. They will never dare to invade here, the battle at the foundation building level. They have already lost." Hearing this, the woman with the red snake tattoo thought about it, slightly, and agreed with Zhou Daocheng's statement. After this lesson, the two people already knew that there was absolutely no chance of winning in the formation, so they naturally did not dare to rush in again. But the hatred between the two sides was also firmly established, but this was also inevitable. Now this situation may be the best result. The woman with the red snake tattoo raised her head, stared at Zhou Daocheng with cold eyes, leaned forward a little, the red snake tattoo on her chest was faintly visible, and said in a quiet and elegant voice, "Boy, I am more and more curious about your methods." Faced with temptation, Zhou Daocheng did not respond, but calmly took a step back and said indifferently, "Senior Red Snake, your attitude is quite different from before. Just now, when he showed a decline and was completely unable to fight against the two foundation building masters, the woman with the red snake tattoo showed obvious indifference. Zhou Daocheng knew that if he was completely defeated and the other party broke into the fog valley and he had to face two foundation building masters at the same time, the woman with the red snake tattoo would most likely not go out with all her strength, but would turn around and leave directly. The woman with the red snake tattoo would most likely not go out with all her strength, but would turn around and leave directly. With the red snake tattoo did not care about Zhou Daocheng's attitude, but still said indifferently, "Boy, you feel wrong." Maybe. Zhou Daocheng did not dwell on it too much, just mentioned it, and then revealed the topic. From the beginning to the end, he and the woman with the red snake tattoo were only in a cooperative relationship, and the binding force of a verbal agreement was not that great. Moreover, he had never really trusted this person. It was fine to let her kill a few chi refining cultivators, but if he really asked her to fight with a foundation building strongman, Zhou Daocheng thought that his face was not that big. After saying that, Zhou Daocheng turned and left. Solving the threat from Beifang City is equivalent to solving most of the troubles. However, the first opening of Wuyifang City still has a lot of things to worry about. First of all, the auction has been opened in an orderly manner. A large number of cultivators have poured into the auction venue, and it is crowded. When Zhou Daocheng arrived, the auction was already halfway through. Compared with the auctions in Laiyu and Fang City and Beifang City, the auction in Wuyifang City is obviously smaller in scale and the quality of the auction items is relatively low. There are almost no second-level auction items, all of which are first-level commonly used immortal cultivation resources. But this is not without any benefits. It is precisely because the auction items are generally of low value and relatively cheap that most people can participate in the auction. This makes the atmosphere of the entire auction venue very hot, and the bidding is endless. Moreover, although the quality of the auction items is all first grade, they are all very good quality items of the same grade. For example, the first grade medium grade Yua wine, a medium grade fine wine, can be bought by even a not so rich casual cultivator. Zhao Yunzhi's silk inner armor is extremely light and tough. It is almost impossible to feel the weight when worn close to the body. But the defensive effect is excellent and it has strong resistance to water and fire. The Zhou family has refined a large number of magic tools. Due to the shortage of various refining materials, they can only refine the first grade, low grade and medium grade ones, but for most casual cultivators, these are still very good magic tools. There are also the spiritual grains specially planted by Huanyang, the first grade low grade yellow bud grass, and the first grade medium grade green jade spiritual grains. They are very common daily foods that almost every cultivator needs. Logically speaking, These most common cultivation resources should not appear at the auction, but this situation has occurred at this time, because according to Zhou Daocheng's original plan, Wugu was originally an exclusive market for independent cultivators and small forces, and its the function was relatively simple. On the one hand, it is to provide a place for trading and communication, so as to get rid of the quagmire of Bay Market. On the other hand, it is to provide some daily supplies for the cultivators who hunt monsters around Wugu to rest. After all, Zhou Daocheng is still aware of his own abilities. It is too difficult to build a regular large market with only a few qi refining cultivators and a dilapidated Zhou family. Therefore, it can only develop slowly, expand Wugu market while improving its own strength. Maybe one day in the future, Wugu market can also become a large market. After Zhou Daocheng observed in the dark, he turned and left, heading to a private room. There were not many people in the private room, only Wei Hanshan and Meng Yushan. The two of them, as the behind-the-scenes controllers, have been controlling the overall situation to ensure that there are no accidents in each process. Seeing Zhou Daocheng come in, the two of them quickly stood up and saluted. Zhou Daocheng waved his hand casually, indicating that the two of them did not need to be polite, and asked, "Lao Wei, Lao Meng, how is the situation now?" Meng Yushan looked calmly and replied, "Master, the overall situation is pretty good. Although some people tried to stir up trouble, they are not strong enough and have been suppressed." Zhou Daocheng slightly, he was still very confident in the combat power of Meng Yushan's people. Among the dozen or so 9th-level qi refining experts, as long as the foundation building experts did not come out, almost none of them could make waves. However, there are some things that we cannot decide, and we may need you, senior, to resolve them yourself, Elder Wei also said. "Oh, what happened?" Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows and asked in confusion. Wei Hanshan thought about it and said, "There are several groups of people who want to meet you in person, senior. We can't stop them or persuade them to leave, so we can only arrange them in a nearby restaurant for the time being." "Do you have to see me in person?" Zhou Daocheng frowned slightly, his eyes flickering. "Which group of people are they from? Do you know why they want to see me?" Chapter 174. Pursuer. Mr. Wei counted in detail. There are 3 parties in total, namely Elder Han from the Spirit Snake sect, people from Zun Pavilion in Beifang City, and a strange casual cultivator. This casual cultivator seems to be a foundation builder. Strong. Zhou Daocheng's eyes fluctuated slightly, but he was not too surprised. The elders of the Spirit Snake sect were looking for him. This was something he had expected for a long time. He had invited the Spirit Snake sect to come, and the Spirit Snake sect's Spirit Beast Spirit Swallowing Ant was also one of the finale items of this auction. As for why you were looking for him, Zhou Daocheng can also guess a thing or two, and it is most likely about Fangshi. Is a powerful foundation building force. The Spirit Snake sect is more aware of the difficulty of establishing a city and the benefits that a city can bring. The Spirit Snake sect has no strength, but due to the relatively remote location of the sect, it does not have the conditions to control a city, which is not a small regret. I came here this time, most likely because I wanted to participate in the construction of the city. Zhou Daocheng has been thinking about this for a long time. The Spirit Snake sect is powerful and has 3 foundation building combat powers. If they can win over and become allies, it will definitely be a very good choice. Therefore, there is nothing wrong with meeting him. However, the arrival of the next 2 people made Zhou Daocheng a little strange. Zun Pavilion? As one of the 5 major forces that control Beifang City, why do you specifically ask to see me at this time? Zhou Daocheng was also quite confused. This sensitive time is really not suitable for both parties. Meeting. As for the last strong casual cultivator, Zhou Daocheng had actually known it for a long time. The first time he entered the Wugu area, Zhou Daocheng had already felt his presence and tried to negotiate with him. However, after the woman with the red snake tattoo saw this person's appearance, she directly stated that this person was left to her to handle and Zhou Daocheng did not need to worry about it. Zhou Daocheng didn't say much about this. Seeing that Zhou Daocheng was deep in thought, Wei Hanshan persuaded him, "Senior, This person's identity is not ordinary. You may need to go and meet him. Zhou Daocheng only thought for a moment, then retracted his thoughts and said calmly, "Don't worry, I know what's going on." After saying that, he turned around and took a secret road, directly outside the auction house, and headed towards the restaurant where the three parties were located. Although no forces have settled in Fang City yet, and the shops have not been sold yet, the internal facilities have been fully constructed. Once the auction is over, sales and leasing will begin. Therefore, it can be lived in now. After Zhou Daocheng thought for a while, he took the lead in going to the residence of the strange foundation establishment cultivator. After all, this person is the strongest and the stranger to each other. He is the party Zhou Daocheng is most worried about. When the two parties met, Zhou Daocheng still frowned vigilantly, because the aura exuding from this group of people was too similar to that of evil cultivators. The white bone flags exuding a gloomy black mist and the gloomy aura condensed around them all showed that their style was against the right path. The leader turned over the dead fish, glanced at Zhou Daocheng coldly, and asked, "You should be the controller of this city, right?" "Yes. Why are you here?" "Find someone." Zhou Daocheng slightly, since the other party had no intention of hiding anything, and the woman with the red snake tattoo also said that he would handle the matter. He did not need to get too involved, so he replied calmly, "I understand, Senior. Go to the back of Fang City. The clouds and mist there will clear a path. Senior, just follow it." Pan. He was also a little surprised. He didn't expect this person to agree so easily and seemed to have guessed his identity a long time ago. "Do you know who I'm looking for, or someone introduced me to you?" "Have no idea." Pan. He narrowed his eyes slightly. "What is your relationship with Flame Snake Girl?" Zhou Daocheng frowned slightly, and did not intend to answer this boring question, but said casually, "Shiji is already waiting, Senior, just go directly." After saying that, Zhou Daocheng planned to leave, but the next moment, accompanied by a cold snort, the bone flag shook violently. Suddenly, a cold and terrifying aura enveloped him, and the air seemed to be filled with ghosts and ghosts, ready to devour all living beings in the next moment. Zhou Daocheng's expression changed greatly, and he took a step back. Yutu magic power quickly wrapped his body, and the second level magic weapon Blue Moon Bracelet unfolded directly, forming a light blue shield in front of his body. At the same time, at such a critical moment, they immediately began to mobilize their formations. Wisps of mist surrounded them, trying to escape directly with the help of the formations. "Sir, what does this mean?" Zhou Daocheng's face was extremely gloomy. Pan. He couldn't help but be surprised when he Zhou Daocheng's methods. But then he snorted coldly, and the white bone flag in his hand continued to release yin qi. Dozens of remnant souls of monster beasts floated in the air, looking extremely ferocious and cruel. Just now, it was this remnant soul of the monster that attacked. Although it was not as strong as it was in life, it was still extremely terrifying under the influence of the second level magic weapon. Even Zhou Daocheng was almost injured. "HMPH, what do you mean by asking me?" "Yeah, and my snake lady is my person." "How can you call her snake lady?" "It's not too much to teach you a lesson today if you are so rude." Zhou Daocheng's face suddenly darkened. He originally thought he had offended the other party, but he didn't expect that this person would actually be a love brain. It was really unbelievable. But he didn't want to get entangled too much, so he had no choice but to give in. "Senior Shiji and I are just friends. Have you misunderstood?" "Friends? Why haven't I heard that she has friends?" "I think you have ulterior motives and are plotting against Snake Queen. If that's the case, then prepare to die." Zhou Daocheng never thought that the other party would fight again after a disagreement, and his expression became more serious. "Your Excellency is so aggressive, isn't it too much?" "Pan," he snorted coldly, "you are just a cultivator in the chi refining stage. Even if I kill you today, what's the problem?" As he said that, dozens of monsters' residual souls around him roared one after another and rushed towards Zhou Daocheng. Zhou Daocheng's face was ugly. When he was about to use the formation to counterattack, a red light suddenly came and shattered the residual souls in an instant. "Pan he, stop it." The woman with the red snake tattoo appeared at the door and glanced at the two people indifferently. Zhou Daocheng's face was gloomy, and there were signs of attacking. Since the other party was going to kill him, he naturally couldn't sit and wait for death. Besides, he now has an absolute home advantage in formation, so it is not impossible to force the other party to stay. However, the timely appearance of the woman with the red snake tattoo barely maintained the situation, so that he did not rush to attack directly. Seeing the person coming, Pan He's face immediately showed joy, and he said in a slightly flattering way, "Snake G, you are here? I have been looking for you for a long time, but I didn't expect you to be here." Seeing the other party's flattering look, Zhou Daocheng also looked ugly. He didn't expect that the woman with the red snake tattoo would have crazy pursuers. It really broadened his horizons. Chapter 175 Cooperation with Zun Pavilion. The woman with the red snake tattoo frowned slightly. "Just come and see me, why bother a junior?" HMPH. "I see that this person is rude and has ulterior motives for you, so I will teach you a lesson." As Pan He spoke, he glanced coldly at Zhou Daocheng next to him. The woman with the red snake tattoo said calmly, "He is indeed a kid who doesn't know what he is called. I just want to teach him a lesson. Let's go." As he said that, he also glanced at Zhou Daocheng lightly, with a hint of intimidation in his eyes. Hearing this, Zhou Daocheng also concentrated slightly, vaguely understanding the reason in his heart, and couldn't help but feel a hint of coldness in the depths of his eyes. The woman with the red snake tattoo knew Pan He's character and could probably guess that the other party would take action against her, but she still acquiesced to it all. This was obviously a deliberate arrangement on her part, and it was also a threat and warning. He was wary of the woman with the red snake tattoo, and why wasn't the woman with the red snake tattoo wary of him, especially after the formation was used to drive away the two foundation building experts of Dazhu sect and Jin sect? The fear was obviously deeper, so Zhou Daocheng and Pan He were allowed to meet to teach them a lesson. Regarding such a method, Zhou Daocheng lowered his eyes and took a deep look at the woman with the red snake tattoo. "Since Senior is here, I won't accompany you two anymore," Zhou Daocheng said calmly. However, Pan He didn't intend to let it go. He looked at the woman with the red snake tattoo with a smile and said, "Shiji, I think this junior seems unconvinced. How about I take action directly and teach him some lessons?" The woman with the red snake tattoo glanced at Zhou Daocheng's eyes and felt a deep coldness. She did not dare to provoke any more and said, "That's all. After all, you are working under me. There is still use in keeping it. Let's go and talk about it." "What's the matter with me?" With that said, he left the restaurant and walked towards the third valley. Zhou Daocheng's chest was depressed and he stood there thinking for a long time, with thousands of thoughts in his mind. He was also thinking about whether keeping this woman with the red snake tattoo would be a good thing or a bad thing. I originally thought that the other party took the initiative to reveal the weakness of the double snake tattoo in front of me because he sincerely wanted to cooperate with me. But now it seems that this woman is not unsophisticated. He wanted to get benefits from himself, but was unwilling to cooperate sincerely. He even planned to let other casual cultivators beat him, using one method after another. Thousands of thoughts finally came together, and Zhou Daocheng could only helplessly mutter to himself, "After all, the strength is still too weak. If the cultivation level reaches the foundation building stage, the situation will be more than this. However, we should indeed do something in advance. Be prepared, you can't be led around anymore." After burying this matter deeply in his heart, Zhou Daocheng's eyes darkened slightly and he walked towards the room in Zun Pavilion. A few minutes later, the two people sat opposite each other in a bright loft. Zhou Daocheng looked at the person in front of him in slight surprise, but he didn't expect that he was still an acquaintance. The person who came was none other than the enchanting woman he had seen in Zun Pavilion when he was selling formations. Her figure is still graceful. She wears an elegant lavender cheongsam, which outlines her breathtaking curves and has a unique and alluring charm. Zhou Daocheng still wore the bronze mask and said, "Are you from Zun Pavilion?" Aunt Kinmu smiled slightly and said, "That's right, Aunt Kinmu of Zun Pavilion has met Mr. Wugu." The soft voice is like the spring breeze blowing on the face, adding a layer of fragrance to the air. Zhou Daocheng also had to sigh. The person in front of him was really a beauty in the world, and his every smile touched people's hearts. Moreover, This person's style is very different from that of the woman with the red snake tattoo. The woman with the red snake tattoo is as hot and explosive as fire, her personality is cold and indifferent, and she is as sharp as a soldier. The woman in front of her was extremely unique and charming, with a lazy and shy look in her every move, as if she was full of lust, making people unable to extricate themselves. Even Zhou Daocheng was stunned for a moment when he saw this woman. Of course, Zhou Daocheng believed that he was not a womanizer. The birth of such lust was most likely to be blamed on sun and menstruation. Zhou Daocheng looked at the person in front of him carefully and said in a slightly joking tone, "As a member of Zun Pavilion, you came to Wulgu specifically to find me on the opening day of Wulgufang City. Could it be that you want to leave Bei Fangshi? Can you join me in Wulgu?" Aunt Qinmu smiled sweetly. "That may not be true. As the lord of Wulgu Valley, if the young master really spends a lot of money to invite us Zun Pavilion to settle in Wulgufang City, then we can't agree." Zhou Daocheng heard the words and chuckled. "I've heard it a long time ago. The Qin family is a family of commerce, and everything is based on interests. Now that I see it, it is indeed the case. I didn't expect that the young master would know my Qin family specifically." Aunt Qinmu's peach blossom eyes flashed. "I know a little bit about it, but that's not the point. Let's be honest about why the girl came here this time." Really worried that he would fall into gentle land, Zhou Daocheng ended the chat as soon as possible and brought the topic back to Zheng. Seeing that Zhou Daocheng did not accept the move, Aunt Qinmu smiled angrily, lifted up a strand of hair that was scattered beside her ear, and said, "The little lady came here because she really has something to discuss with the young master. Perhaps it is related to the future of Wulgufang City." "Oh, tell me." Aunt Qinmu's expression returned to seriousness, her red lips parted slightly, and she said, "Wulgufang City has just been established, and its background is quite shallow, especially in terms of elixirs, magical weapons, and talismans. It has always been a headache for the young master, right?" Zhou Daocheng raised his eyebrows slightly, showing some interest, and said, "What you said is indeed good. But what do you think the girl has to say?" "It's not a good idea, but I can discuss a cooperation with you." Aunt Qinmu paused and said, "We, Zun Pavilion, can provide you with a large number of elixirs, magic tools and talismans, but you need to agree to two small requests." "What request? Tell me." Aunt Qinmu said, "First, all magic tools, elixirs and talismans that appear in Wulgufang City in the future must only be provided by our Zun Pavilion. You need to prohibit other forces from selling them. But, you can rest assured, we can ensure that the quantity is sufficient, and at the same time sell them to you at a price 20% lower than the market price. How about it?" Zhou Daocheng's pupils shrank and his brows frowned slightly. "Tell me the second condition." "Second, I hope to buy a batch of formations from you for a long time, but I also hope that you can only sell formations to us in the area of Beifang City and Wulgufang City." After the voice fell, the room fell into a long silence. A few minutes later, Zhou Daocheng's cold laughter came to mind. Zhou Daocheng only frowned slightly after hearing the first condition, then after hearing the second condition, his eyes were filled with indifference. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.